Time is approximately forever.
Cannot afford to be so politically correct anymore. Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
Please continue to hold for the next available representative.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
We appreciate you waiting and waiting. What is it you're waiting for? Do you even know anymore?
These are people who work hard but no longer have a voice. I am your voice.
Disconnected.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the first election stream of 2024. It is Iowa Caucus night. Polls are closing in about 12 minutes from now. We are ready to get underway in election season. Here we go. And there is a decent amount riding on this, because if Donald Trump goes out there and he goes out there and makes a statement victory like he is trying to do, that basically renders this entire election, entirely the primary, over. And of course, the establishment will cope. Of course, they're going to try in New Hampshire. They may even try after that. But if Donald Trump comes out with a sizable victory tonight, if the polls are not off by 30 points or even off by 20 points or 15, well, Donald Trump is going to be in good shape for the rest of the primary cycle. And honestly, there's no reason for anybody to be in this race. There's really not. So we're going to have the results on screen here. As people who were not here during my last stream, we have new graphics. So we're going to be using those as well, and we'll definitely be changing the lower third as the night goes on, potentially. We'll see if we have a projection to make, possibly very early at the rate we're going. Now, the weather is extremely inclement. The weather is not exactly all that well in Iowa. And even down here in Texas, the weather is also pretty abysmal. I mean, last night, I think we almost were in like the single digits in the DFW area. That's like unheard of. And Iowa being way up to the north, I mean, especially with the wind chills there, it's extremely cold. But Donald Trump said it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have to go out there and get sick. We must get this done. And of course, the DeSantis people were not happy about that, but these are the same people that were mad at Trump because they were twisting his words, trying to make it seem like he tells people not to vote. So I don't really care what they have to say about this either. But I will enjoy the coping, and hopefully we're not the ones coping, because it seems like it's been forever since we've had a really good election stream. I think the last one was the Arizona primary stream, but even then we didn't really know the winner for a while, and it was kind of disappointing at the onset just based off of how the votes are counted. So I'm looking forward to it. Definitely, there's no mail-in votes in Iowa. This is a caucus. This is based on purely enthusiasm, really. And it comes down to the group that's most enthusiastic. And Donald Trump in the Seltzer poll showed him winning by nearly 30 points over Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, but it showed Donald Trump supporters were more than twice as enthusiastic to turn out as Nikki Haley's were. It was like, I think sometime or somewhere in the low 60s in terms of the DeSantis number, the percentage that were enthusiastic. But Trump, it was like 80 something, 88, 89. It was really close to 90% of his support base that happened to be enthusiastic. And I think that that's going to really determine this when you have the cold weather. Now, definitely we could be wrong, but I did my prediction earlier this week. I did it yesterday, actually. And I say Trump is probably going to win with, somewhere in the 50s. I think it's going to be close to 55%. And definitely, I don't expect it to be 100% on point. Definitely a lot of decimal points there. But I do believe, he might outperform the polling, where the polls have him at 52.5%. Nikki Haley's down there at 18. DeSantis, he's in third. It's the biggest bust of all time that we've ever seen, politically speaking. I think even bigger than Chris Christie, because, well, maybe not bigger than Chris Christie, but back in like 2016, he was hyped up, but he only had 20% of the field, and those things are more volatile for sure when you have a crowded field. DeSantis was somebody who was positioned in the polling to take on Trump head on. He moved to Iowa. He spent all his money in Iowa, and Haley spent a lot of money in Iowa. Honestly, DeSantis should win tonight, based off of every metric, traditionally based off of how much time he spent, how much money, given the fact that he has the endorsement of their governor, etc. But it doesn't matter, because Donald Trump still is that figure in the Republican Party. Among the Republican primary field, he stands out. The more people got acquainted with Ron DeSantis, the less they liked him. The more they understood that his brand was largely just a facade that was hyped up by conservative media. And that's not to say they didn't like him as a governor or like certain things that he did as a governor, but they understand that national politics are not the same as state politics. I mean, the same thing goes for the people that say, well, DeSantis won by a lot in Florida. That must make him electable nationwide. And it's like, not really. I mean, we saw John McCain win by 50 in Arizona a few years before he ended up losing Indiana as a Republican. And yeah, things like the economy were a factor, for sure, in that election cycle. I'm not trying to take away from that, but still, just because you win a state by a lot doesn't matter. Underwater nationwide by more than Donald Trump is, and arguably close to Joe Biden with independents. Because the more people got to know Ron DeSantis, the less they liked him. They saw him as somebody who was just like a little awkward, not even coming across as human. I mean, they saw the way that his campaign staff really acted. They were just insufferable. Very, very just combative, but not even in an effective way. And I think that they definitely egged him on to run, and they hate Trump. They have TDS to the extreme, and now they have to pay the price for that. They absolutely do. And tonight will very likely be when they do pay the price. Now, we don't know what the margins are going to be, but I mean, we saw a lot of people, and I keep receipts. We have to keep receipts from these people. We can't let them dictate future election cycles. And what I've done is I've compiled a collection of people that were saying DeSantis, even up to this week. I didn't even keep track of posts from months and months ago. I mean, of course, there's plenty of those. Oh, DeSantis hasn't announced yet. Oh, the polls aren't taking into account Trump attacking Kayleigh McEnany. Remember that talking point? How did that go? The announcement bump led to an announcement nosedive, announcement plane crash in the middle of Iowa. I mean, his numbers in Iowa, he was neck and neck with Trump a year ago. What happened? Big Ron, not so big anymore. So that's the way it is. So Trump is there, DeSantis is there, Haley's there. Vivek Ramaswamy, there's questions about, is he having a surge right now? Why is Trump going on the offensive? It's largely because I think Trump realizes he's taking votes away, and for some reason Vivek is turning up the energy on his campaign right now, knowing that even then he doesn't have much of a chance to win, but we'll really have to see. I don't hate Vivek. I understand why people are skeptical of Vivek. And I don't think Trump hates Vivek either. He said, I like Vivek, but he's not, he's just taking votes away. And we'll see what happens tonight. But in a state like New Hampshire, where all these neocon, donors are pouring money in, you have a lot of liberals that are getting registered, or they're just independents, but they happen to vote for Biden in the general. They're voting for Nikki Haley to stop Donald Trump because they know Trump is the most electable, ironically enough. And how's that exactly working out for them? Well, it would work out a little bit better if you had people in the race taking votes from Trump. So honestly, my word to Vivek is if he claims he's in this race to help Trump, well, I think he needs to tell his people in New Hampshire to vote for Donald Trump the same way that Marco Rubio and John Kasich did their little not-so-backroom deal for Ohio and Florida in the 2016 primaries. It worked in Ohio, didn't work too much in Florida. But still, if the goal is to stop Nikki Haley, well, you got to kind of get on board to a certain extent. So that's the way I see it. We have some super chats. I'll be getting to your super chats all night long. Polls haven't closed yet. I'm sure the results are going to pour in slowly at times, so we're definitely going to be getting to super chats. Mike Oxhard, very funny, says Binkley is definitely going to win. Trump will be a close second, though. So true. On brand for the troll name. Doug says, we have no choice but Trump, hashtag save America. Farrell, Trump. Jesus says Trump is invincible. Only Arkansas therapy can stop him. If you know, you know. Colin McNeamy says, getting my predictions out early. Trump 56, Haley 20, DeSantis 15, Vivek 8, Asa negative 0.5. Yeah, Hutchinson. Why is he even in the race? He debated once. He was probably the least memorable person on that debate stage when he even did debate. So we're going to see. I mean, polls are going to close in 3 minutes. I don't know when we're going to get results. Apparently, they're using an application for this, the similar way to the Democrats' application, which stunted the results in Iowa for the Democrats for, days on end. It took days to get results out of Iowa. It was absolutely embarrassing. Totally a first world country election system, by the way. Noah Boyd for 20 says, my 2024 endorsements, Trump Tucker for president, Vivek for RNC chairman, myself for Pennsylvania House District 141. Let's go. Well, if you're serious about running, good luck. Polite Rude Guy says, just finished 100 calls to help the Trump team. And that's important. This is how you get things done. This is how you get things done. We need people getting involved. You can actually change the outcome. It's not like, if you're a sports fan, for example, the only way you're going to change the outcome is like if you're at a game or something cheering, which I'm not saying is like a bad thing or it's pointless because crowds can play a factor in games. But with politics, it's different in a good way because every single person can make a positive impact. They can help out. They are a part of the team for a specific candidate. They can be a part of the campaign, and they have to put in the work. I mean, you could sit back and kick your feet up on the desk, but if you're, going out there making calls for people, if you're door knocking, if you happen to just get 10 people out to vote that would not ordinarily vote, and you have 20 or you have 2,000 people doing that in Wisconsin that weren't doing it before, then that's the margin there. I mean, that doesn't even take into account people that are changing votes from Biden to Trump or people that are just going to go vote on their own because Trump is inspiring them. But you look at it, it's like we need people getting involved. In a lot of Trump's base, you have a lot of unemployed, or I should say retired boomers that happen to be on the right. I mean, the average age of a Trump voter is probably in their 60s, right? So we need people that can, if they're, able to do so and they have free time, we need people getting involved. You want to see the comeback story happen. You have to be a part of it. You have to go out there and get it done. You can't sit on the sidelines and just hope that everything falls into place. I mean, some people will, and maybe it will, but we're going to do a lot better if we have people getting involved, leaving no stone unturned. I mean, there's no reason why we don't have this massive ballot chasing operation. But in the case where we don't, we need the people to rise up and be that ballot chasing operation. And I think that could happen. So 3,000 live viewers, hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Definitely, we want to hit 160,000 subscribers, possibly on stream. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it will definitely happen if you guys hit that subscribe button. And I'm sure as results come in, we're going to get a lot more people in here. So let's see. More super chats. We have a lot more TICHY87 says, right in Chris Christie, JK Trump 24. Will he fit on the ballot? I think that's the real reason why he had to drop out. Mega Kevin 1228 says, what do you think of Trump, Sean Hannity? Well, Sean Hannity's a commentator. I don't think he would bring anything to the ticket necessarily. And he's more of like he'll shill for whatever the status quo is within the Republican Party. Regardless, sometimes when he's, supporting Trump, it's a good thing. But if he's out there, putting Lindsey Graham on, talking about how we need to go to war with Ukraine or war in Ukraine with Russia, technically, I should say, and like take out Putin, it's like, seriously, like the guy is not exactly the best on policy. Splice Stream says, winner has been called, Jeb. So true. And the polls have closed. We are waiting for more results to pour in. We don't have any results so far. No results yet, but we will get them soon. Okay, something happened to my camera. Okay, that's not good. That's okay. It's okay. We'll fix it. It's pretty easy to fix. Or definitely not the brightness. Definitely not that. Hold on 1 second. Putting the zoom back. There we go. Sorry about that. Still working out some things with the new graphics, but there we go. So, Polite Rude Guy says Trump is picking Ben Carson for VP, only loyal man. Yeah, I like the idea, actually. I've thought more about it. At first, I couldn't picture it, but now I can picture it a little bit more. I really can. We'll see. MS1711 says, are you more DJT/VR? I assume that's Trump Vivek or Trump Carlson. I'm more Trump Carlson, but I don't think either of those are going to happen. Matthias Nilsson, thank you for the 2. Eaters of Dead says, how do we conservatives think we are going to win the next election when close to 8 million illegally came to U.S.? Many could be voting. How is any Republican going to win? They will not, by and large, be able to, especially in Texas, where they actually have pretty, strict surveillance of certain things like that. It's very unlikely that they will. I mean, that's why the Democrats are pushing for amnesty. That's why they're trying to get them to be citizens so they can vote, for sure. But a lot of those people are not going to be able to be voting. If they were, Texas would have most certainly flipped blue by now in general. Not saying there couldn't be some isolated incidents of it happening, but just being real, it's like probably not exactly going to be the case. Unmasked Florida is always on point. Keep up the good work. Make sure to check out the upcoming General Flynn documentary. Thank you for the super chat. Shout out to Schmeedy. New England refugee says become a precinct captain and turn out voters. That as well. It's important to have people involved. If you're worried about election integrity, you need people being poll watchers, volunteering. I mean, we saw a big operation for that in Virginia, and Republicans flipped the governorship. I'm not going to say it was only because of that, but it definitely didn't hurt. The average multi-content guy says, this is the first election since I got invested in politics. This was the most exciting election in our lifetime. Let's save America. Well, thank you for the super chat. And that's a good thing. And I think a lot of people wake up during these election years. I was definitely not really into politics growing up until the 2016 cycle for sure. Farrell Trump, Jesus says we need Trump shrines and national-wide to give we the people a place to ponder the MAGA good news. Oliver King says, will Buc-ee's beef or nuggets survive Joe Biden's America? I have no idea. They probably are resilient. SMW physicist says, can't wait to see all these terminally online DeSimps meltdown. Can't wait for them to start telling us the delegates will vote their conscience. Yes, they will. Schmiedy says, I've been a Trump fan since I was 14. We are out there. We're probably not going to get caucus results until 8:30 Eastern because it takes time to caucus. And they take time to count the votes at each individual precinct where it takes place. It's not like a primary exactly. I mean, it's a similar process, but it's not identical to one. Let's see. Base Cato says, you still follow Predict It? No, because they shut down pretty much all the markets. Johnny Heartdog says, Vivek is doing really good with relating to the young people. I wish Trump would follow suit. I think Trump has a very good standing with a lot of young conservatives, believe it or not. I think Vivek is somebody that's liked. I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he doesn't have a future. I think he does, whether people think his past is fully vetted or whether people think that he'd be a viable 2028 candidate or not. He probably still does end up in Trump's administration. I mean, Trump is going to attack people that are his political opponents. Vivek is still a political opponent. I think that gets lost on people. So when you have a lot of people going out there and saying, why is Trump attacking Vivek? And like kind of on both sides of the argument, it's like, yeah, I mean, this is what happens. It's politics. I mean, what do you expect? Trump went at it with even like Ben Carson a little bit, not as much. And obviously Ben Carson became a Trump supporter. I think Vivek is kind of like the Ben Carson / Rand Paul combo of this cycle. But I think Ben Carson, yeah, he could be in VP consideration. I wouldn't oppose it. He's from Michigan. He's, well respected. He can fit like the Pence role. He's soft-spoken. He might be a little too soft-spoken at times, but I mean, it's not like he can't work on it a little bit. And I think as a VP though, he'd be the ideal like role as somebody in the VP slot for sure. Like he'd be the ideal like VP, wouldn't get in Trump's way. He is solid. I could sleep at night if he took the reins of control for one reason or another. And you don't want to see that. I mean, VP, it's mainly like a backup quarterback. You don't want to see him playing. I mean, they're there for a reason, but, maybe you serve as an advisor or whatever. But let's see. Christopher Laurie says, I actually hope DeSantis gets second place despite Nikki. If Nikki got second, that shows the party still needs work. I mean, you have to understand, it just depends on the Trump margin. If DeSantis is down there in third place and Nikki Haley's in a distant second, but a lot of the DeSantis people put him in third because some of them, are, in real life at least, are switching to Trump, I think it's a positive thing. And it is funny to laugh at DeSantis' demise. It's also funny to dunk on Nikki Haley. So, it is what it is. I mean, Haley is obviously worse, but I mean, her supporters are non-existent on the internet, so I'm not really going to cheer it as much, even though she is objectively awful and we need to keep her away from the reins of power. That's going to be mainly the focus after Iowa. DeSantis was the one talking up a big game about Iowa, and if he ends up in third place, it's Jover for him. He's done. I mean, he's already done, but we're waiting for the votes to come in. He's trying to see if he can outperform by a couple points or if Trump can get below 50. That's the new thing. And it's like, even if he gets below 50, you have all these people basically living there spending hundreds of millions of dollars in the state of Iowa against Trump. And it's like, if he still gets close to 50% and wins by 20 instead of 30, like that's still a good thing for Donald Trump. He still has momentum. There's no way they could really spin it to be a positive. They might try to consolidate people behind like Nikki Haley, but I think a lot of DeSantis's supporters, their second choice is Trump. And even a portion of Nikki Haley's supporters, not the majority of them, but a portion of them, their second choice is Donald Trump as well. Unmasked Florida says Trump Flynn 24. Matthias Nilsson says, I think nominating our very own 80-year-old to take on the corpse is a massive mistake. I'll vote for him if he's the nominee, but it worries me a lot. We can't afford to lose. Well, I don't think age is the issue. I think Biden just not being cognitive in the slightest is an issue. I mean, Donald Trump is still with it. I mean, he could wrap circles around people half his age. I mean, the only reason why he didn't debate was because he was up by so much. But when he's out there debating the same ideas on the town hall front, yeah, he's doing a very, very good job. I see it that way. And he's not rattled. He's calm. I mean, they're putting him, basically at least trying to put him in prison for a lot of these charges. And he's still, it's not rattling him. He's still going on. He's still pushing. He's as calm as he's ever been. He's in good shape. He looks younger. He looks thinner. Of course, you'll see his opponents, they'll take pictures of him a little bit out of context where the lighting's bad, and they'll be like, he looks so old. But it's like, there's pictures of him 5 years ago where the same thing was the case. So it doesn't really matter. A polite rude guy says, no woman VP men are the leaders of the household. Well, Trump would be the leader, first of all. Second of all, I think he needs the person that's best for the job to be VP. I think that person, I don't know who it's going to be yet. I think that we hear about Ben Carson a lot. I don't know if that's confirmed. I'd like to see who he starts campaigning with down the stretch. Oh, we have a new update. We have a new update, folks. A new update. Do we have votes? We don't have votes. We had a new update, but it says we expect the first votes to be reported within the hour. In New York Times election speak, that's like 4 hours from now, but probably not. Hopefully not. Let's see. Bad people do exist. As fingers crossed for a MAGA swarm at the polls. I think you're going to see it. I really do. And Trump spent less time, energy, and money than all these other people in Iowa, and he's still going out there, and he's still probably going to win it by a sizable amount. It's an absolutely beautiful thing to see. And he's facing serious opposition in his party. He's facing somebody who is seen to be like a big portion of the more establishmentarian wing in Nikki Haley, who's backed by all this big money. He's facing Ron DeSantis, who was seen by many people not too long ago as like the future of the Republican Party because he's a governor and they see all these articles. He's getting things done. And it turns out this second term for DeSantis, he just lived in Iowa. That's why his approval rating in Florida has dropped. His approval nationwide has dropped because, yeah, you get to the national level, it's a different ballgame. And I'm not going to pretend that certain things he did at the state level were severely overrated as well. I mean, because they were. Like everything he's trying to run on, it's like, what's his direction? Like, yeah, he's running, Trump locked down America or whatever, but Ron DeSantis locked down Florida. He had certain restrictions in place all the way up until like September 2020 in some places. Like, he reopened faster than some other Republican governors did, but some Republican governors opened faster than he did, and Donald Trump was already saying liberate states and, unlock them, and the liberal media was saying he is violating the Constitution by this tweet. And it's like, look, I understand Trump didn't have a perfect track record during COVID. I don't like the fact he pushed the jab, but DeSantis pushed it 1,600 times. And the source for that is Christina Pushaw herself, and they pretend like that never happened, and they say, "Oh, he changed his mind." But like, seriously, a lot of it's just branding. We know he's just trying to make a name for himself. He's trying to market himself. It's a brand. But nobody is better at marketing in politics than Donald J. Trump himself. So it's futile. This run was just the disaster from the get-go. And we don't have any results yet. We're still going through super chats if you're just tuning in, but like the stream down below. Subscribe if you're new. We want as many subscribers as we can get tonight. We want to get our new record of 159K, as well as we want to get closer to 160K. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll see. Redacted Ruler says, I'm a young person in California. I plan to vote for Trump, but it feels like my vote doesn't. No, it does matter. And down ballot, there are effects. Even if you're in a blue district, you never know. Do the research. Vote down ballot. You could go out there and you could be helping out a lot of people. And we need the popular vote. We do. People say it doesn't matter. It technically doesn't. But when it comes down to it, having that mandate is just the biggest middle finger pointed directly at not just the Republican establishment, that they were not able to get it done with somebody until Trump came along, but also because it is just a mandate that you get to throw in the face of the Democrats and say, no, the majority of America supported us. And it's like, yeah, technically it's not how we elect the president, but is it a thing you want on your side? Are you going to reject a popular vote win? No, you want to win by as much as you possibly can. So yeah, vote wherever you are. Don't waste your vote on a third party candidate. You got to vote for Donald Trump. So Jeremy G says, hey, Rob, I'm leaving Arizona in August. I'm moving to Ohio. Well, I guess that's -1 for Arizona, but +1 for Ohio in terms of the voting situation. Sam Madsen says, do we flip Pennsylvania and Michigan state houses? Dems have a 1-seat majority in both chambers. I say yes, especially with Donald Trump on the ticket. You have that added benefit that you ordinarily wouldn't have if you're running like some no-name candidate for governor who never served in statewide office before, like they did in 2022, for example. Pin Yang says, I live in Orange and presidential elections have been pointless for us. How should Republicans make themselves relevant there? If you're talking about Orange County, I would say you got to turn out and vote. You still have to do your part, and the more you can, elect conservative leadership at any level is a positive thing, for one. For two, you have to show that there's momentum building, and maybe you'll get more investment in that area by, regional party people and donors, and maybe you'll find a candidate that could pick off a governorship on a year. You never know. I mean, governorships are definitely more flippable, even in these deep blue areas. Yeah, you're not going to run like a MAGA candidate, but I mean, people are just going to have to accept that you can, at least you could do things to a state and make it more red if you have somebody that's like, competent and somebody that can win and will at least do some things. And I think that would be a good thing. So Isaac Natal says, if Haley won New Hampshire, could she run and win in 2028? No, absolutely not. She might try, but she's not going to win. Johnny Heartdog says, I'm escaping Washington and moving back to Alaska in 6 months. And there are all kinds of petitions to get rid of ranked choice voting up there. I hope I'll be able to make a difference. Yeah. And it's honestly not ranked choice that's the issue, and this might be a surprising, unpopular opinion. I don't think ranked choice voting, quote unquote, is the main issue for the Alaskan election system. I'm not a fan of it. But the main problem is that you have this top 4 primary system. You have Republicans going up against Republicans. If Lisa Murkowski went up against a Republican in a Republican primary and you have like a sore loser law for statewide elections like you should, and you can't run that write-in candidate, well, guess what's going to happen? You'd be able to get rid of Murkowski very easily. I mean, she'd be better off changing her party registration if she even wanted to win at that point. But no, absolutely. You need to get rid of the top 4 primary as well. You need to, and that kind of does touch base on the ranked choice voting, but the main issue is that, honestly. The ranked choice voting I'm not a fan of it, but that's not exactly the main reason why it's happening. Because if you have somebody clearing 50% plus one, they're going to win regardless. But you don't have that because you're pitting Republicans against the one Democrat, and all the Democrats rally behind one candidate. And what exactly happens? You see the Democrats win, like in the case of the House race, or you in some other cases, you may, see a Republican that's weak end up winning if all the Democrats end up voting for the Republican, because you have Republican v. Nominal opposition in the case of Lisa Murkowski. So let's see here. I want to pull up the super chats. Random commenter says, I'm calling a Chris Christie upset. So true. 666 King Drummer says, I like Vivek at first. Now I'm getting skeptical. What MAGA Republican gets an interview on MSNBC and CNN? Something smells fishy. I mean, Trump was interviewed back on those channels quite a bit in 2016, but I don't know. It's possible they're propping him up because they want him to take votes away from Trump. That's entirely possible. It doesn't mean that they like him, but I could understand why they would be doing that to, kind of hurt Trump overall. Donnie Chappelle says, where's your MAGA hat? I didn't want to wear it this stream, but, here we are. I got a new haircut, so there's really no point in wearing the hat 24/7. But yeah, it's metaphorically on. It should be metaphorically or figuratively on everybody right now. Eric Jenkins says, I like Vivek, but this is about retribution. This is about righting wronging. This is about Americana, Trump 2020. I mean, a lot of people feel that way. They feel like they might like Vivek, but they'd rather have Trump. And then, 4 years down the line, they'll consider Vivek. It's the same thing what a lot of people said about DeSantis before he actually ran against Trump. It's like Vivek is kind of running that campaign that a lot of people expected DeSantis to, in a way, but DeSantis just fell flat on his face. He did. So we'll see. Caucuses have begun in Iowa. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel as well. We are trying to get up there. We're trying to get towards 160K, if not 159K on stream. Let's see. DBLEO says MAGA Mason and the Steelers lost. But you're a 7 seed. You shouldn't been there in the first place, arguably. Jacksonville choked, but it is what it is. Let's see. Snipes127 says, did you see the exit poll? Very conservative, 54%, somewhat conservative, 34%, moderate, 9%, liberal, 3%. Well, that's not good news for Nikki Haley. That's not good news at all for Nikki Haley if 12% are moderate or liberal. And that might mean she might underperform. Now, the exit polls can be off. We know that. But it just comes down to what percentage of the other voters are getting out and voting for either Trump or DeSantis. We'll have to see. LinRX52 for 20 says, Seb Gorka says he knows who Trump's VP is. He did a poll on the website. Their choices were Zeldin, Ramaswamy, and Carson. I figured Zeldin, but like you, I'm having serious thoughts. It may be Carson, and I'm okay with that. I mean, if it's Zeldin, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with either or. It's not going to be Vivek, probably. There have been other advisors that have gone out and said it's unlikely. Now, I don't know if Trump was saying in the town hall that he had his VP picked out, because it sounded like the question they asked him, it was kind of a little taken out of context, because he said that he knows who it's going to be in terms of his short list, which he doesn't want to talk about. Does he know who the VP already is? I mean, he might have the idea, but I'm just saying I think people might have kind of taken it a little bit out of context given the town hall. But we'll see. Maybe he does know. I think he probably deep down has an idea, and I hope it's, I really hope it's not Kristi Noem. It's kind of underwhelming. It might be, but we'll see. DJ Aftershock says Iowa doesn't matter. Delegates vote McCunscience. Yeah. Totally. That's the next cope, bargaining stage. We're almost there. Mega Kevin 1228 says Trump equals president, Detroit Lions equals champions. Great year. So true, hopefully. I mean, that was a great game yesterday, but there's a long way to go for both. And hopefully tonight's victory will be even bigger and better. I think it will be. I think it has to be. Donald Trump is definitely going to be winning by a lot more than 1 point for sure. Polite Rude Guy says Vivek says he's for the truth, but still has not said Trump took a W in 2020, kind of dancing around the TOS a little bit there, and has not called out the unconstitutional acts taken by swing states only tech. Yeah, I mean, he said back then that, like, in a book that Trump was kind of, like, being a victim about the whole thing, like, and then he talked about Stacey Abrams. He compared the two. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know exactly what his angle is on everything. He's very rhetorically talented, and a lot of credit has to be given in that department. But at the same time, sometimes I will say, and I like Vivek, I want to like him, but there are times where he does give answers to things where he kind of just goes on this roundabout circular tangent and just starts saying things that kind of don't make a whole lot of sense if you pay close enough attention. But it's very possible he has genuinely changed some views, but I think that he's not going to be the nominee, so it doesn't matter. And then maybe 4 years from now, we could see what's going to happen on that front. But the media does attack him a lot, which I think is, I'm going to give points to him in that department. But nevertheless, this is Donald Trump's election. Vivek, he's there, but is he kind of a sideshow? Yeah, in my opinion. Mike M says, I voted for Trump every election since the primary in 2016. I'm all in on MAGA 2024. Thanks for the live stream. Well, thank you for the super chat. M says, just switch parties from nonpartisan to Republican so I can vote in the Nevada caucuses. MAGA. Yeah. And as much as I don't like the Republican Party and the Republican establishment at times, I think it's necessary. Oh, we have new votes. We have votes. Donald Trump, he has 80% of the vote in Iowa. 80% of the vote is in Des Moines. Is that Des Moines County? Des Moines County, 5% of the vote. I don't know. Oh, Des Moines County is not where Des Moines is. That's kind of confusing. But we have votes. Donald Trump performing very well so far, but it's such a small sample size that I don't know if it's going to be representative of the state as a whole. If we want to look at that county. Oh, we have another county reporting. Trump's at 72%. 72% in Lyon County. Donald Trump running up the score. That is a county that Ted Cruz won big back in 2016. Trump ended up in 4th place behind Ben Carson, but not tonight. He is up there with 72% of the vote. Yeah, I know it's a very small sample size, but still, he is doing a very good job so far. Almost 76% of the vote. That is a true masterclass performance so far. But like I said, it's early. I'm not counting the chickens before they hatch. You definitely don't want to. It's definitely early. Things can change. The live forecast says Trump's going to end up with 53%. But if you have more counties reporting like that, that's going to be good news. Still, we don't have Johnson County. We don't have the Des Moines area, which could be more favorable to these other candidates. And Trump has expanded his lead. Just now, he's at 76% of the primary vote. Unbelievable. That's a county as well. Did that county that county did vote for Trump very narrowly in 2016 in the caucus. But so far, 8% of the vote is in. Donald Trump with a 78-13 lead. Imagine if this continues. I don't expect it to. Maybe it's because I'm putting too much stock in polling, or maybe it's just like a small sample size, which that's probably what it is. But you're looking at this. Ryan Binkley with 1 vote so far. Chris Christie, he has a holdover, 1 vote. But Donald Trump with the lion's share of the vote totals so far. But yeah, we were reading super chats, and I'm going to keep reading them. I'm not going to stop that. But people should be registered Republicans in states where they need to be for primary purposes. That's what I was trying to say. Wesley Bruce for 20 says if Trump did offshore processing of the Dreamers, he did with half of them, they'll probably not vote for the leftist. Australia did that using boats after. Well, I mean, he's not going to give amnesty. We don't need to give amnesty. It's a bad example. They're still not going to vote Republican. Like, let's be real here. I think that you're talking about the fact that we have a border crisis on our hands. You have a lot of people. The main priority needs to be getting illegal aliens out of the country, back across the southern border. And if Biden's going to say no, he's going to guarantee a loss. Guarantee you that much. But we got to get out and vote. So 4,000 live viewers. Like the stream, subscribe down below for sure. Donald Trump, 70% of the vote in Hancock County as well. Hancock County, Ted Cruz won that by 27 points, but Donald Trump is clocking in a 70 percentage point masterclass so far out of Hancock County. He's got 2/3 of the caucus vote so far out of Iowa. That is absolutely huge so far. Nikki Haley is down there at below 6%, and I know it's early. I know it's a rural sample, could be different than certain other parts of the state for sure. But Donald Trump, so far, is doing good, especially in Lyon County. That's an evangelical county. That is a county that he completely dropped the ball in 2016. So far, so good. I mean, it's a small sample size. That's true. I mean, there were probably closer to 1,000 voters there last time. There's only about 100 votes tallied. So we have a long way to go, but the precincts are filling in. So we're going to do super chats. We're going to be looking at the caucus results as well, but that is absolutely huge so far. I mean, if these are the results so far, Trump's winning. We know that because every single precinct is showing the same thing. The question now is, by how much is Donald Trump going to win by? Even Polk County, which is where Des Moines is, Donald Trump with 77% of the vote. It's only like 12 votes, though. So the coping is going to be crazy. Man, I tell you, Donald Trump going out there, if he wins this, what are they going to say? Weather? It's the weather? Nikki Haley so far with not even 6%. Honestly, that is even funnier than if DeSantis got a close third by far. And also Vivek, because we heard about Vivek surging. He's at 4%. Now, it's early, but you think if Trump's doing well in certain places, Vivek would be too. And so far, Vivek only has 11 votes tallied. Now, keep in mind, we got a long way to go. I mean, face facts. This is probably not going to be where it's at. But Donald Trump so far, he's doing well. He's on track for 53%. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with the whole race for second place. It says it's tilting Haley, but she's so far down. It depends what happens in the bigger counties. It really does. But if Trump's putting up numbers like this, I mean, in Iowa so far, which is where all these people have spent all their money in, like, there's not even a single county where he's like performing poorly. There's not even a single county where he's performing in the 60s. Now, yeah, there's a lot of votes to be tabulated. I'm sure he's going to, probably do a little worse in a place like Johnson County, which is where Iowa City is. But if Trump's outperforming the polls like this, folks, he's going to outperform the general election polling. He's going to outperform the swing state polling. Make no mistake about it. I guarantee you he will at this rate. But we got a long way to go. It's definitely not something where we're complacent and at all. But Donald Trump with 3/4 almost of the vote, that's insane. Belfort Gore says, day off work, Bills W, Trump W, can't get any better today. The average multi-continent guy says, Rep, I'm kind of centrist, but I vote Trump in November because of the border crisis and gas in the economy. When I can run for office, I'll try to make a difference for our country for the better. Well, I'm not a centrist in the slightest, I would say, but I do welcome anybody to support Trump. We need all the votes we can get. So, definitely, it's definitely something that is appreciated to hear. Redacted Ruler says, young people in the newer generations are more conservative than expected. Video on that coming probably within the next month or so as well. Do I think some safe blue states could flip in the next decade? Depends on the culture. Nobody would have ever thought Vermont would have been a safe blue state 40 years ago. So it depends what happens for sure. Stephen Kanizik says, I encountered a DeSantis influencer who's denying ever believing the Trump Epstein defamation despite people unfollowing him over it. What are wrong with these people? Derangement, severe derangement. And you're seeing them getting rejected in real time. Now, I don't know if the results are going to stay at this level, but that's insane. Okay, more votes are in. Trump did dip significantly because votes in Johnson County came in, which is not going to be a Trump-friendly area. Donald Trump in that precinct got absolutely decked completely. He only got 12% of the vote there. That's probably not going to stand either. For the record, just like the 75% of the vote is not going to stand in certain places. They still have him at 53% in the final vote totals. I think he might outperform it at the rate he's going, but we'll have to see. We're not even 1% in. We're not even 1% in. This is something people need to understand. We have a long way to go. And he probably doesn't finish with that vote total, but if he gets close to it, if he outperforms the polling, it's a very, very good night for Donald Trump. We'll have to see. Doug says, we need to weaponize the DOJ. Well, you got to gut the DOJ first if you want to start to, have this retribution arc that we hear so much about. Maryland Degati 83 says, what happens if Trump gets convicted? He'll still be running. You could still run if convicted. You could still win. You could win from jail even. I don't know if he's going to go to jail, but you can win from jail. I mean, Biden won from a basement, quote unquote, won. But still, bad people do exist. What do you think of an Alex Jones VP pick? It would never happen. I mean, it's just more of a meme than anything. James Sapp says the only good thing about a Trump Noam ticket is that it would throw a monkey wrench to the Dusty Johnson's plans to become governor. I guess. I mean, there's definitely pros with everything for sure. Kelly R says, come on now, you're trying to count the chickens before they hatch. We hear the excitement. Well, I mean, there's excitement in the votes being reported. Of course, there's going to be excitement here. Nobody's trying to take away from the excitement for sure. But it does definitely exist, and it should exist because we're getting votes in. We're underway. We're in election season. This is absolutely peak hype. Sam Madsen says, I think Trump's biggest county in 2016 was Fremont in the southwest corner. Yeah, I got, 42% there? I mean, that's like nothing compared to what he's getting in every county so far right now. So that's true. Harry Cohen says, I'm hearing about low turnout in the cities, high turnout in the rural. Good news for Trump. Well, so far, so good. Johnny Hart Dog says, after the primaries, please do a video on what will happen to this country if Biden gets back in. I don't know how bad it will be. Well, we'll have to see. Captain Beefheart says, I can't wait for the DeSantoid cope. I'm sure it's like, but Johnson County hasn't fully reported yet. DeSantis is doing well there, but that could be an outlier precinct. It could be. Just like the precincts that have Donald Trump. Well, honestly, the precincts with Trump with 81% are probably more in line with reality than DeSantis' victory. So Christian Page for 20 says, I'm voting for Trump here in the Southeast Connecticut corner for a fourth time since 2016. People here don't have their heads screwed on right most of the time. That's very true. I mean, it's New England. Thanks for the super chat. Ascending says, remember DeSimps said there wasn't enough F word in 20 and 22 DeSantis will run an effective campaign. Red Eagle's wrong about it. Yeah, I'm wrong about every prediction, but these people think that DeSantis is going to win Iowa. Or even it's going to be close. I'm proud. I could be wrong, but I could be wrong in the fact that I'm underestimating Trump. But I did say the weather helps Trump. And if Trump outperforms the polling, I told you so because I said the weather is going to help him. It's not going to hurt him. It's going to be something that will boost his chances for sure. So that much I can say is true. Now let me see, pull up the super chats here. Tucson Paleocon says, it's funny how Trump's opponents always cry about him having a sinful past only to lose the evangelical vote to him. Yeah, they're honestly heretics is what they are. I mean, there's no mention in the Bible that you have to elect a priest or anything to be the president of the United States. Like, you're looking for somebody who's a leader for sure. And we have an announcement to make. New York Times has projected Iowa to Donald Trump. Donald Trump will win the Iowa caucuses. He will win. He has won Iowa 2 cycles in a row. He did not win the caucus in 2016, but he has won the Iowa caucuses according to multiple networks here. And I think that means that we can also make a major announcement as well, that the Rep Decision Desk has projected Donald Trump the victor of the Iowa caucuses. So far, he's putting on a masterclass performance, but it's only 1% of the vote. But either way, the exit polling data, everything that we've seen shows it to be a massive L for Nikki Haley, a massive W for Donald Trump, and a salty group of people called the DeSantis, the DeSantoids, the DeSimps, whatever. They're in a distant second place. And that might change in terms of the margin of victory, but what's not going to change is that Donald Trump is going to win, possibly by quite a bit, and they know it. They still are projecting Trump to get 53% and Haley to get in second place. I don't see it. We'll wait until we get more results in out of places like Polk County. But even the results we have in out of Polk County, I don't think Haley has a single vote yet in Polk County. So not a good night for Nikki Haley, the loser of the night so far, but a lot can change. But we're just watching the margins. But Donald Trump is the victor. But yeah, we were talking about this like, but Trump did X, Y, and Z. It's like Trump's life has been under a microscope. He was a, at times even liberal, comparatively speaking, celebrity. And he got involved with some stuff that, most people shouldn't be getting involved with. We get that. But this notion that, Donald Trump is like the worst person ever. It's like, look at all these people. Look at all what a lot of these Republican establishmentarian people are hypocrites. So you really think that they're living the best lives? You think that they aren't cheating on their wives? I mean, these are the same people having cocaine-fueled orgies in Washington, D.C. every day of the week. Like, let's be real here. So Boston Elevators and Aviation says, like how Christie has 1, Hutchinson 0. The average multi-continent guy says, if Trump wins the primary by your prediction, what do you think it says about the toss-ups? Well, if he wins big and he outperforms the polls, he probably is going to perform in line with the polls. Primary polls and their accuracy rate kind of can give insight to how accurate a general election will be. Even in 2022 in some places that, they lended credence to certain overperformances that happened, for sure. So Daffodils for me says, I think Trump needs to pick a VP who's a bulldog like himself. Well, he doesn't probably want somebody that's super similar. You have to have a well-rounded ticket. And I think somebody like a Ben Carson, who is, he is kind of a fighter. I would say he's a fighter, but he's not like he's not super polarizing. He's a nice guy. He's not going to get in Trump's way. I definitely think he would add something to the ticket. Whereas if Trump picks like a successor, I don't think he's going to pick his successor as VP. There's not going to be a direct successor to Donald Trump. I think that would have to be found within the next Republican primary electorate. And looking at the electorate this time, seems like, I think they could, I put my confidence in them to find that successor and nominate that successor if they exist somewhere. Kelly R says, AP declared Trump the winner already. That's true. Mr. Jimmy says, when does Ada or Asa get a vote in Iowa? He's at 0. That's hilarious. I can't even act like I'm super surprised about it. Even Ryan Binkley of all people has 2 votes. I mean, it's early, we know. Red Politics 1776 says, DeSimps coping left and right, MAGA. Yeah, I haven't even looked at Twitter. I don't really like looking at Twitter during election streams, but I bet they are coping hard right now. Carl Bruss says, hopefully Trump will get a major win tonight. I need it since my Cowboys got their asses beat last night. Well, that's karma for Decker not reporting a few weeks ago. I'll say that much. Gustavo Morales says, what policy disagreements do you have with DeSantis? Well, I mean, there's several. I think that the free speech bill, or the anti-free speech bill he signed was awful, for one. For 2, he hasn't really exactly taken a clear position on issues like Ukraine. He's kind of given rhetorical bones here and there, but hasn't really committed to certain things. He kind of stood in the sidelines during the debate, let Vivek take the lead on the issue, if you don't remember the first debate. Also, trade, I disagree with him on trade. I always have. I've been saying this even since 2020, 2021. Immigration, what's his stance on the lowering the legal immigration limit? I haven't really seen a whole lot on that either. But the national issues, foreign policy is a big one. There's not a whole lot of policy disagreements on the surface, but just looking at what type of corner of the political realm he really represents. He's relied on donors for his campaign, but even then he lost them because he was so unpalatable. So there's a few, don't get me wrong, there's a few. There's not as much as I have compared to somebody like Nikki Haley, but that doesn't necessarily make DeSantis that strong of a candidate overall. Bad people do exist as well. Christie drops out and still votes for himself. Yeah, true. He doesn't live in the state of Iowa, but who knows? Maybe he disguised himself as a thin person and went in. Who knows? Ryan Graham, thank you for the 2. F. Marion says, never seen reps so happy. Let's go, MAGA 2024. Well, I hope I'm a lot happier in November. I'm enjoying the results so far, knowing that, yes, they can change. I know Trump will win. How much will he win by is the real question, and that was always the real question. But all the people that said DeSantis will win Iowa, really, where's the victory? Where's DeSantis's win? He's not even getting 16% right now. And honestly, I don't know if he's going to really rise or fall between now and the end of the night. A lot of people are still saying Haley has votes out there. I don't know where they would come from. But yeah, I mean, absolutely brutal. Brutal for the Republican establishment. They take the biggest L of all time if this margin stays the same, because Trump's outperforming the polls by like 20 points if true, and Trump gained again. He hit 70 again. Where did the votes come from? I don't know. Does it matter at this point? I mean, they didn't come from any big counties for sure. I don't know how DeSantis is even winning. Oh, Johnson County reported. Oh, they think that Nikki Haley's going to win Johnson County. I don't exactly agree with this entire map and what their predictions are, but we'll see when they unfold. It's possible that it could revert back to the mean. I don't know by how much. That's the real question. Mean Gene in Florida says, Red Eagle, do you like Tim Scott for VP? If not, why, please? Well, first of all, the personality thing is a little weird because you have the whole past of him and like he's like his non-existent girlfriend. It was like a butt of a joke. You don't want that liability, for one. For two, he always got in Trump's way on certain things. Like Trump tries to nominate judges. He would do the whole like, woke thing. He's like, this judge is racist, get him out of there. And it's like the guy has a lot of blind spots on policy, and I just wouldn't really trust him in that role. On top of that, he is like bought and paid for by the Republican establishment almost entirely. So Polk County reported more votes. Nikki Haley saw a gain, but still less than 1% of the vote there. So Iowa County also reported votes. So Iowa County is, Iowa County is not showing it. Let me see. It's not one of these. I don't know where Iowa County is, so I can't see where the votes are reporting from. But there were a lot of votes reported out of Iowa County where Trump has 51%, DeSantis has 28%, and then Haley ended up with 14%. So Trump has a lead out of Iowa County. It just, the circle, oh, there it is. Okay. So we found it. So it's right next to Johnson County, and it voted for Ted Cruz by 10 points back in 2016, for the record. So there you go. Let's see, more super chats. T.H. Waite says, good news for USA. I agree. Christopher Laurie says, do you think Lee Zeldin would be a good running? So I think that electorally speaking, he is a workhorse. He could help, get New York closer. I mean, that definitely helps out with the House. You don't need to win it, but you want the House. You want the trifecta overall. So I don't know. It's possible. I just don't know if he's on Trump's radar. LF Fun says, Bill Mitchell already having a meltdown on Twitter. Yeah, how much until the DeSantis people say that Trump stole the Iowa caucus? How much you want to bet that happens with some of these people? I mean, they're deranged people. They are. Crunchkey says, easy clap, time to laugh at the virgins on election Twitter. Yeah, I mean, I haven't even looked at Twitter, and I'm not going to look at Twitter for a while, but I could only imagine. Or maybe I will on this other tab, just see what people are saying. But I don't know. It'll load in the background. The average multi-content guy says, I can't wait to watch the results in less than 10 months. How excited are you for November? I'm excited. I really am. I mean, we got a long way to go, but it builds momentum. It shows that you can make a statement victory. And if he's going to win by, if he's going to get 55% of the vote or more, or around that ballpark range, then he's going to make a statement victory. And that would be absolutely huge for Donald Trump. MS1711 says, Christie disguised himself as three people next to each other in a single trench coat, cast 2 votes for Nikki Haley and 1 for himself, hoping Vivek beats out Haley. Well, let me check the margins right now. Okay, so Haley took the lead in Johnson County, which is where Iowa is, or Iowa City, I should say. Not where Iowa is. This is entirely Iowa, but Iowa City, college town, very blue county. Nikki Haley has a lead of like 20 votes there. But Donald Trump has been declared the victor. But Haley, maybe she will gain in places like that because they do tend to be more and more left-leaning places. You have more liberals or liberal Republicans or independents that register as Republicans turning out in those caucuses. So Jaden Godowick says, after tonight, hope DeSantis will drop out. Yeah, I agree, but I don't think he will because I think they'll just blame the weather. But you never know. If he has any dignity, he will. But if he had any dignity, would he be running in the first place? Probably not. So Donald Trump there with 59% of the vote, with 1% of the vote cast. So we're probably going to see turnout above 100,000 votes when it's all said and done. But Trump is the projected victor. The real question is, by how much does he win by? And there's question marks to that because, yeah, the rural counties, he started high. He's dropped a little bit, not too much, not a ridiculous amount. But we don't have any counties that are like all the way close to in. The most in county we have is Cedar County, where Donald Trump has 62% of the vote. So you never know what's going to happen when it's all said and done. But so far we have a long way to go on multiple fronts. So let's see here. Okay, let me look at the super chats. We have more super chats still. Ryan Graham says, imagine if the meatball Christie finishes with 1 vote. I mean, is he still at 1 vote? He's at 4. Why are people caucusing for somebody they know dropped out? I just don't get it. Especially Chris Christie of all people. Real Libertarian says Nikki won in the most liberal precinct by 2. Yeah, or liberal county, you mean? Like, yeah. I mean, even if she takes Johnson County, we don't need Johnson County. It doesn't matter. And that very well could just be the most liberal precincts in that county reporting. So overall, is it really going to make that much of a difference? Probably not. Now, Mr. Jimmy says if Dean beats Biden in New Hampshire, how much would it hurt Biden? Not at all, but I don't think he will because Biden is polling high even when they poll him as a write-in, which he is, and he's trying to get people to write him in, even though he didn't officially file for that ballot. It's not going to make a difference. So Clay Franklin says, my favorite part is if watching is Hutchinson coming in last. Well, he's got 4 votes. There were talks about him finishing with 0. That didn't happen. They didn't materialize. Shout out to Matthew West for the 5. We're all caught up with super chats. And we have almost 5,000 people in chat. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel as well. Let's get up there. Let's get to 159K, possibly 160K at some point. So Captain Beefheart says Bill Mitchell's losing his mind on X. Okay. Yeah. They have to be quiet. All right, so let's see. Exit polls so far showing Donald Trump probably getting around in the low to mid 50s, which is in line with my prediction. They also show him winning college graduates as well. We could pull up the CNN exit polls possible for this race. Let's see. Okay, they have. Okay, these are entrance polls, I believe. So we could pull these up on the screen here. So here are the exit polls. Trump won independents by a sizable margin, or people that claim to be independents. He won them by a lot. People that claim to be Democrats, there was not enough data to deduce anything. He won men and women by the same margin, it seems, 49%, but there's a lot left up to the interpretation. He got 53% of rurals. Okay, so he's going to end up probably around 50%, but I don't know. People that say they're moderate or liberal are only 13% of the electorate, but Nikki Haley won them 59-23. Trump came in second among moderates and liberals, but they're not really a big portion of the electorate as well. Trump also apparently, with the younger voters, Vivek Ramaswamy did well, but not so well with older voters. Now, there's a lot left up to the interpretation. These have not been updated in a while. They will be updated. There's a lot we don't know. Exit polls are not always that accurate, and we know that as well. But Donald Trump, so far 1% of the vote is in. He's at 56% of the vote. He's got a lead of almost 40 points. 40. And his lead dips. Where are the votes coming in from? Story County, Nikki Haley has a lead in Story County with 2% of the vote reported. Do I think that's going to stand? Probably not. Even in Johnson County, her lead is decreasing. It's down to 10 points. It was like 14 earlier. So it's very volatile. It depends on the precincts. I can only imagine what's going on the... Okay, we have Bill Mitchell. He's coping. He's coping. Seriously. How on earth are you this dense? How on earth do you not realize that people just don't like you? They don't like your candidate. They like Trump. Trump is not this evil, failed president the way people tried to make him out to be in the DeSantis campaign, and people didn't really like what they had to say. They didn't offer anything. A lot of the surrogates went out there and just trashed Trump 24/7, and it backfired. Backfired miserably. Trump won. By how much is a question, and I'm sure we're going to find out by how much Trump is going to win by, but he won. That much is for certain. That much is true. So we'll see what the end result's going to be for sure. But DeSantis isn't even in second place. DeSantis is in third place. And as more votes come in, they start to look a little bit more like the polls. 2% of the vote is in. Donald Trump with 54% of the vote. Donald Trump, so far, the prediction's holding up pretty well. So far. And there's a lot of rural votes that have not been counted. A lot of them. In fact, the votes that are most in, the centers that are most in, that are like the population centers, Johnson County. Johnson County is like 9% in. There's a couple thousand, or not a couple thousand, but a few hundred votes in from Johnson County. Polk County as well. It's Iowa, that's Des Moines, that's urban, that's suburban. Donald Trump still looking pretty sharp in that county. Woodbury County, which is Sioux City area, and that was a county that Donald Trump, he won it over Ted Cruz in 2016. That's starting to come in 70-14 for Trump. So Trump is above 54. He's at 54.4. That's roughly in line with the prediction. Haley is down there at 19.9. She's below 20. DeSantis is at 17. So the Seltzer poll is actually pretty accurate too so far, which it usually is, the gold standard. Despite the inclement weather, despite people saying it might not be, it doesn't exactly matter. So far, so good for Donald Trump. So far, not so good for all these other people. So Crosswalk Guy says, what about Tucker for VP? I just don't think that it's a realistic option. I think Tucker might run in the future, but for VP, I think Trump is probably looking for somebody that's a little bit different than him, like in terms of the whole outsider personality type stuff. Okay, Trump expanded his lead. He's at 55. He's clearing 55 so far. More votes came in from somewhere. Not entirely sure where. I think it was K.O. Cook County. He's at 77%. That's with a third of the vote in. That's not like one precinct. That's a third of the vote in. He's at like 70% in these counties. He's running it up in the rurals, that's for sure. And that's going to carry him to victory. If he's able to supercharge turnout, especially in these areas that are like moving to the right compared to past election cycles, it's a very, very good thing. So, quiet part out loud for 20. Thank you, Stephen Kanizik says if Trump surpasses Ford's 76 total of 46% in Iowa, this is the beginning of a new political paradigm. Come on, MAGA, let's stick this in. Well, yeah, Ford was an incumbent then too. Like he wasn't elected, but he was an incumbent for sure. Arizona majority says, let's go 24. Arizona, don't be complacent, from Ari Bradshaw. True. Arizona is definitely going to be ground zero, or one of those states, one of those ground zero swing states that Trump would like to win. He could win without it, but if you have it, it's a lot of padding, and it definitely can help you out when it comes to cracking 270 that you need to win to defeat Joe Biden. Andrew Mortensen says Trump will bulldoze any candidate in his way, and I'm all here for it. Let's go. He is the bulldozer. He is a dog. I mean, he's somebody that has always just, been on the offensive. He's always somebody that will protect his standing, and he will bite back. And he usually is not he's not this guy. Like, they try to frame Trump like he's this guy that goes out there, attacks everybody. He attacks them out of nowhere. Pretty much everybody that he's attacked, like most of them, have slighted him in some way, and he's responding. Like John McCain, everyone's like, oh, Trump was so mean to McCain. It's like, no, McCain attacked Trump first. McCain said all these horrible things about Trump, and Trump said he's a loser, and he lost, so he is. And he's a neocon. He's a warmonger. And now his whatever's left of his family in politics, they despise Trump and his movement. It's not just Trump himself. It's his movement that they despise, which proves that it's not about the personality thing. So Quiet Part Out Loud says, if you will tell Chris Christie jokes every 15 minutes, I'll watch all night. Well, I guess that I probably am going to be doing that regardless. I mean, that's kind of just how it goes because Chris Christie, he's so big you can't ignore him. Even if he's dropped out and caused a 9.2 magnitude earthquake in the state of New Jersey, like you can't ignore the guy. I mean, his little rumbling back and forth in the studio from time to time, that's just Chris Christie, the aftershock of the earthquake that even somehow hits Texas. He's bigger than Texas, by the way, allegedly, I've heard. I don't know. Ascending says, Predicted says 83 cents for Haley at second place. Well, Predicted's kind of schizophrenic. I'm not going to lie. Like, what they say is not the be-all and end-all, but yeah, it's pretty accurate that Haley, I guess you would say, is the front runner for second place. And she's going to want to use that momentum for New Hampshire, but I don't think it's going to work. I think Trump's going to win New Hampshire too. I really do. So Mean Gene in Florida says, good to see Trump voters vote come high or hell water. Yeah, Trump is right. Get out and vote. We need you. And they did. They listened. And right now, he's putting on a masterclass performance. He's outperforming the polls. The polls had him up 52.5 to 18.8. Now it's 54.8 to 19. So he's outperforming. Is DeSantis this outperformer? Well, so far, not by much. Not even by 2 points. Like, give him a share of the undecideds, okay. That was bound to happen anyways. Vivek being down there at 8%, like, it seems like my prediction, it's not done. It's not a done deal. But it seems like it's definitely going to hold up by and large. 54.8. I had him at 54.7. And there's a lot of ground to cover. I'm not saying it's all done, but, like, seriously. Like, anybody who said, oh, it's going to be close. Anybody who said that it was going to be a razor-thin margin in some places. Anybody who said that it would be like a DeSantis would get within 10 points of Donald Trump. Like, seriously? These people actually believe what they're saying? Or are they just delusional with a capital L? Because that's what I think it is. They are delusional. The polls are pretty accurate so far. Trump is outperforming them. Like, yeah, he's not getting the 70% he's getting in some of these rural precincts statewide. I mean, that was bound to happen. I called it. But still, this is a big victory so far, a big performance for Trump. And he did lose a little bit of votes there, but I don't know where they exactly came in from. I think you have an early vote dump out of Lynn County, which is Cedar Rapids, where Hillary Clinton was famous for chilling in back in 2016. So Captain Beefheart says, surprised Rob isn't winning Keokuk County. Yeah, so true. I did pick up on that when I read the name of the county. Ishmael Mage, thank you for the 10. Bryce Robertson says, I'm registered in the Constitution Party and I support Trump. Rich Lamb says, my prediction is Trump's going to get over 60. I don't know about that, but we'll see. 55 in that range? Yeah, it's possible. Patriot345 says, Chris Christie should run, but not for president. True. Tyler Claremont says, hello, my friend recommended your channel. Well, your friend is a good friend then. That's nice. I just wanted to know what your thoughts are on the odds that Michigan flips this November. Also, who do you think the VP is? I think Vivek. I don't think it's going to be Vivek. I think it's probably going to be, it could be Ben Carson. It could be Kristi Noem. It could be Elise Stefanik. It could be Lee Zeldin. I think Vivek is just not on Trump's VP radar. He's more like cabinet material. So I think Trump just doesn't want to be overshadowed with somebody else who's like a big personality. And that's fine. I mean, Trump is center. You want to win, you got to be front and center. So I get it. 100%. But Michigan, I think Michigan could it could flip. I think right now, if the election was today, it would flip. If you see things shake out differently between now and November, it's possible it doesn't. But we'll just have to see. I think it's going to be a very, very close state, and it's very economically driven. And Biden's touting this recovery that they're not seeing right now. So whenever Biden does it, people laugh at him. When he talks about the economy recovering, he's losing support because nobody buys it. Like, seriously. Let's see. Trump so far has 12 delegates. I don't know how binding that is this early, but I guess because he won the state, he got 12 delegates, so he's up 12-0 so far. Now it's going to change But we'll see. Alex Sirico says, why has MAGA made DeSantis out to be Hillary Clinton? He's America's greatest governor. I support Trump, but if DeSantis is a rhino, then everyone is. Well, my take on that is I don't think he's being made out to be Hillary Clinton. I think people are making fun of him. In fact, if people remember the 2016 primary, it was far more brutal than 2024 ever was, for sure. But I think people just see him as somebody who took the bait from a lot of these neocon donors to run, and he's abandoned his state. I would disagree with the notion that he's the best governor. I've always thought that there's a couple governors that have been better. They're not from a state as big as Florida, for sure. But what is true is that, yeah, you can do some good things as governor and be a bust on the national level. Personally, rhino is a tough word, but establishment Republican is more than fair. It is, because the donor class was drafting him to run, and they abandoned him for Nikki Haley because they realized he couldn't really do well in prime time. So Trump gained a little bit. It's a little bit of a back and forth, a little bit of a 54-55% seesaw here. Trump, where did he exactly gain? We'll see. Henry County is 44% in, Trump with 63% of the vote in Henry County. So it seems like these little rural counties, he's going to be in the 60s of, if not even the 70s in some cases. And it seems like in the big cities, he's doing all right. He's not, performing as well as he is in the rural areas, but it's still a respectable performance for sure, especially because that's where DeSantis and Haley have spent a lot of their resources trying to turn out voters. So Trump so far, he's doing very well. 2% of the vote reported. New York Times projected him the winner. AP, I believe CNN, projected him the winner. We have projected him the winner. And now DeSantis is in second place for some reason. I don't know where more votes came in from. But let's see. I can't exactly. DeBuck. I think DeBuck. There wasn't that many votes reported from there, though. I don't know where the votes came in from. But either way, Trump is still in a distant first place. He's up by close to 40 points. And the polls had him up by, 33? The polls are pretty accurate so far. I'll say that much. There's a little give and take. There's a lot we still don't fully know yet in terms of how the rest of the votes are going to shake out. Where does DeSantis overperform, Haley overperform? But the one thing that is true is that Donald Trump is up there. He's in the 50s, and it's a good look. It is. There's no cope that can really kind of cut through the narrative effectively from these people at this point. There's not. What you could say, oh, well, he was the president last time. It's like he didn't have opposition last time. He didn't. People spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to beat Trump in Iowa, and they failed. They couldn't even get a majority of the vote against him. And this is somebody who's been indicted 4 times, and they claim is the insurrectionist, and he gets all this bad press, and his favorables are unmovable. They are. And like Trump's favorability rating is not really dipping in the Republican Party, and the people that voted for DeSantis, a lot of them, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are going to easily come home for Donald Trump. Easily. So that's that. It's funny because the people that supported a ban on abortion nationwide in the CNN exit poll, they actually voted for Trump by more than the people that opposed the ban voted for him. Like, that's just insane. That's insane. So, we'll see. The people that said immigration and the economy were the biggest issues, they favored Trump. The people that did say abortion was their biggest issue did favor DeSantis, but they were only 11% of the electorate. So, there's that. Now, it doesn't really ask if, 66% said Biden, claimed that Biden did not have a legitimate W in 2020. They voted for Trump 68-16. Those that said yes voted for Haley, 53% of the vote she got there. So DeSantis just failed with everybody. Big time, it seems. Like, it's over. It's over for DeSantis. It's over for Haley. She'll stick around until New Hampshire, but nothing's going to come of it. Nothing will come of it at all. But once again, guys, like the stream. down below. Let's get it to 3,000 likes. Subscribe to the channel as well. Hit that subscribe button. If you are new, or if you just want to access live chat, we could really definitely help grow the channel here, and you guys can support it by subscribing to the channel. We're getting close. We're knocking on the door of 159,000 subscribers, a new record. We had a lot of people that dipped because they didn't like my criticisms of somebody who is polling right now, or in terms of the results, he's sitting down there in a distant second place, probably soon to be distant third. But Donald Trump, so far, putting on a decent performance where he's got above a majority of the Republican electorate on his side in a state where all of these people exhausted all of their resources against him. It didn't matter. It didn't make a dent. And by South Carolina, he's really going to be running up the score in Nikki Haley's home state. Yeah, that's her home state. She's going to go down to Donald Trump in her home state, even if she does pull off a miraculous win in New Hampshire, which I don't even think is going to happen. I think Trump takes New Hampshire by 10 at this rate. Seems like the polls are pretty accurate. Seems like the enthusiasm for a lot of these candidates is just not entirely all there. They're just not entirely there. Like, Haley is winning Johnson County so far. She might take it, but still, that's only, 10% of the vote in? Like, it's not even a big county. It's a very liberal county. It's not exactly a county that Trump, you would expect him to do well in. I thought it'd be his weakest county of the night, and it is so far. But let's see. Okay. Johnny Heart Dog says, if I was 100% certain Trump would win in November, I'd watch the streams from liberal sources just to watch them cry like the baby. Well, that's always fun regardless. Craig English says, careful, Christie's eating a sandwich right now and does not want to be bothered. Probably. Mean Gene in Florida says, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona are the only swing states now, at least for Trump. I mean, that's a good list. Georgia you could throw in there too, but I think that because Biden is struggling to energize black voters on his side, it's going to hurt him. For sure. Easy the Legendary says, being a Cowboys fan, this reminds me of my team a lot about the Republican Party. Boomers talk about how good they were back in the day, but now they tout the smallest victories and choke when it matters most. Yep, that is pretty accurate, given yesterday. Alex Sirico says, can we take a look at how Dean Phillips is doing? Just curious. Anyone who votes for him might not vote for Biden in the general. Well, let's see. Do they even have the Democrat caucus here? I don't even think they have the results on the New York Times. So, yeah, still is Trump expected to win with around 52% plus of the vote. Yeah, it's over. We know it's over, but we're watching the margins. Let's see. Captain Beefheart says Christie has less votes than... yeah, I saw. Binkley actually is doing a lot better than I thought he would. I thought Hutchinson would end up getting like 1%, but Binkley actually has 21 votes. Hutch only has 5. So, yeah, about that. Not looking too good. So, yeah, I mean, 3% of the vote is in. I'm sure the cope will be, he didn't do that well. I'm like, what do you mean? He outperformed polling. He outperformed expectations. He won the primary by a lot. You said the polls were off by 30 points. Like, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Donald Trump, he's the nominee. It cements him as the nominee. There's no way they can stop him. There's no way at this point. There's nothing they can do. The coping will ensue. I'm sure. They're saying, why did they call this state when people are still voting? It's like, because it's over. Everybody knows. I mean, these people already went in. They're caucusing regardless. It's just how it happens. You're not beating Donald Trump regardless. You're not beating him. You're probably not even going to beat Nikki Haley. and vice versa for the Nimrods out there, if they do exist, they may not even beat Ron DeSantis. So whichever way you want to look at it, 3% of the vote is in. Donald Trump with a majority of the Republican electorate so far. He's outperforming the exit polls, and New York Times say he's going to outperform the exit polls. So that's that. And that's with him not even living in Iowa like the other people, not really going to Iowa all that frequently. And that's with all these other people barnstorming the state 24/7, pouring hundreds of millions of dollars in. It doesn't matter. Donald Trump has won. John Spring says Dems orchestrating mail-ins to be released on Super Tuesday. Is that for the Iowa? Yeah, they might be moving they move their caucuses around a little bit. Kelly R. says, well, this was a good thing to see, not just for Trump supporters, but for those who oppose him, and they thought he had any chance, and finding out GOP traitors. Yeah, I mean, what shows is that all these people that ran against him, all the donor money that was wasted, all for nothing. They would have gotten the same result, if not better, because people got to know them a little bit more because they had more resources, because they had more money. And it didn't impact them in a positive way. It impacted them the opposite. And a lot of those people that are not voting for Trump in this caucus are probably going to be voting for him in November. That much is true. But still, what it shows is that Trump still has this party. There's nothing they can do about it. There was nothing they ever could do about it. They cope. It's sunk cost fallacy for them past a certain point, but it's not going to move the needle. Whatever they do will not move the needle. Let's see. Benny D says, or wait, no, there's more before that one. William Cregan says, how many liberal DAs will push new charges now? I don't know. I mean, they realize the charges aren't moving the needle. And at this point, it might be too late to charge him and get a trial before the election on anything. So Sanderford says they're trying to imply Iowa's an anomaly. I mean, it's true. I said they would use the weather as the excuse. Oh, well, the weather's bad, so therefore any win that Trump has is basically meaningless, which is not true. It shows he has the more enthusiastic base regardless. Seriously. Like DeSantis and Haley are just, playing hot potato with second place right now. That's all they're doing. And Haley might end up in second place regardless. Let's see what the needle shows for second place. It gives Haley a 60% chance at getting second. Vivek, he's down there at 7%. And a lot of those voters would just vote for Trump. And we know Vivek doesn't have much of a chance. So in terms of his standing in the race, like him dropping out before New Hampshire, where he's polling better than he was polling in Iowa, that should happen. Because Vivek claims that he opposes Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is the only one that has a chance at beating Trump in New Hampshire, and the chance is non-zero because liberals and left-leaning independents can vote in that primary. So if I'm Donald Trump or I'm Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm telling people in New Hampshire, vote for Trump, not me. If he actually wants to help Trump out, that's the best way to go about it because you don't want Nikki Haley to have any moral victory. You don't want the establishment to get any just technical little win. You don't want them to get that. You don't. So, absolutely. Let's see. More super chats. As Benny Deese has just finished our caucus in Mondamin, Iowa, which is part of Harrison County. Small rural farming towns. Official result, Trump 19, DeSantis 7, Vivek and Nikki at 3, cold and snowy with low turnout. Yeah, I mean, it's Trump country. It is. Like, all of these people spending all this money are not able to change that. They're not. Sam Madsen says, what would Biden's worst primary state be? Probably New Hampshire because he's not on the ballot. And then past that point, like West Virginia, Kentucky, or like Arkansas, states that still have a large amount of registered Democrats that would surprise people, like turning out for that primary. Like, yeah, they might just vote for Phillips just to spite Biden and then vote for Trump in the general. So who knows? We got a long way to go. Yeah, imagine spending all that time and money for one vote. Somebody in chat said, yeah, I mean, Just like all these people spending all that energy for second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place, dropping out before Iowa. Ridiculous. It's just a psyop to weaken Trump on the Republican field because they know if the whole party's not united behind him, it's going to be harder for Republicans to win. And thankfully, the primary is going to be over pretty quickly. So we'll see. Duraninked1 says, thanks for your live coverage and great analysis as always. Will Haley stay in the race to claim the title of second so that if something happens to Trump, she can claim the nomination? Well, I mean, it's possible she stays in past New Hampshire or South Carolina. I don't know if she would intend to stay in for that reason. But if something happens to Trump, second place delegates or whatever, yeah. So, gotta be careful about this. We need these people to lose badly. We need Donald Trump to win big. We don't need them to even be able to go out there and try to claim to pull a mandate away from Trump for whatever reason. The base is with Trump, the party's with Trump. It's what it shows. It's been that way forever. They try to pretend like it's not, but it is. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. No new updates. Yep, Haley gained 0.1, DeSantis lost 0.1. Okay, whatever. Edward Roy says Vivek is a single-digit midget. Well, right now, yeah, he's at 7.2. Parks and Places says the border's my issue. Illegals need to be deported. Well, it should be. If you're seeing what's happening, you have people pouring into this country by the millions. We don't know who they are, where they come from, what diseases they're bringing, which they are bringing some. And the Biden campaign is trying to pretend like Trump is evil for calling that out when it legitimately is factual truth. These are the same people that wanted to lock down over a glorified flu. Rational Conservative says no Republican has ever won the caucus by 12%. A Trump landslide. I'm becoming more surprised that Binkley is currently beating both Christie and Hutch. Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Rachel Anderson for 20 says, love you. Well, thank you. Annoying to me that people don't realize Iowa saw past the rhinos. Trump, first president to win 3 Well, not yet. We got ways to go. We do. I mean, I think he is in a very good shape. I really do. But we have a little bit of time between now and Election Day. And we got to keep on going. And we got to keep the energy high. That's how we win. Sanderford says, who should the VP pick be under Trump? Christie Noah maybe or Doug Burgum? DeSantis or Haley are not options for me. Yeah, I don't think he's going to pick DeSantis or Haley. DeSantis, I think he would get obliterated on a debate stage for one, which would not be good. Second of all, I think that Haley would just be a disaster, total neocon, and it's basically a death sentence. It is. Electorally and possibly non-electorally. SJ says if Ron threw thousands of his own dollars into a bonfire, it would have been a more effective use. Can he earn back his lost respect for 28 if he drops out and endorses Trump? Maybe among some people, but I just would never vote for him in a primary at the national stage. I mean, you see the guy who he surrounds himself with is a big red flag. And personnel for Trump was considered to be an issue, even among some of Trump's base. DeSantis would be on a whole nother level on that front. And B, the guy's no charisma, and it does matter. You could say it shouldn't matter, but it does. I mean, the guy just does not have the it factor. He doesn't. And it shows. Clay Franklin says if God forbid something happens to Trump, his delegates will pick a replacement at the convention. Well, delegates, I feel like, could be coerced easier than you'd think. So I would say it is a problem. I'm not reading that other super chat, but thank you for the 2. Let's see. All right. 3% of the votes still. 4,000 votes cast. Trump getting a majority. A slim majority, But still, he's performing in line with polling. He's performing in line with expectations. Poll said 52.5. He's at 52.8 so far. And he's supposed to be getting around 52%. Haley's down there at 20. DeSantis at 18. There is no path forward for Ron DeSantis. There's not. He's probably, at the rate he's going, third place in Florida, if everyone stays in until then, is a non-zero possibility. And that's a state he's governor of, and he won by a ridiculous amount back in 2022. So, yeah, that's insane. It's just insane. All the time, money, energy. Just a fourth, or not fourth place, but third place probably when it's all said and done. Like, we're still waiting on votes. Votes are counting at a snail's pace. But Trump is the victor. That much is true. We're only 3% of the way through. Trump is winning. Rachel Anderson says, whomever is in charge of the AI makeup and actors for many of these politicians that are at from a new job, a.k.a. Hillary, Biden, Fetterman, Pelosi, Hobbs, never stop your show. Oh, so you're saying the people that are in charge of I guess you would say the way that these people are curated in terms of their appearances? I mean, yeah, I guess. But thank you for the super chat. Noah Boyd says, shouldn't Vivek stay in the race just because Trump gets Kennedy, or if McDonald's diet catches up to him? Well, no, I don't think that. I don't think it's exactly going to matter, because Trump is still going to likely get the lion's share of delegates. Second of all, you're talking about something that's like a freak accident, something that's probably not going to happen by any stretch of the term. So, like, I don't exactly think that Vivek staying in the race is like a net positive. He can always stay on the ballots. He can always claim to jump back in if something happens. I mean, but like him just staying in the race is like the insurance. I don't know if the argument's good, because he's hurting Trump's electoral chances in the meantime, unless something that has a very small chance of happening ends up happening, whether they find a way to like just take Trump off the ballots, which it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, or something far, far worse than that, which you should never hope would happen. And if that's the case, if that's what they're willing to do to take down Trump, what makes you think they're going to let Vivek win at that point? Well, if Vivek is legit, what makes you think they're going to let anybody win at that point? It sounds blackpilling, but I just think it's a dark thought, and it's something that's not entirely grounded in reality. At least the way I see it, I don't believe that it's going to be the case for now. So Trump dipped a little bit. More votes are coming in from, let's see, what county? Seems like votes coming in from Polk County, which is where Des Moines is. Nikki Haley saw a little bit of a surge there. But still, Donald Trump with a sizable lead that's not decreasing. So he won. He won the primary, or he won the caucus. He won it by, we don't know the final margin, but it's probably going to be by over 30 points, which is in line with polling, which is in line with every single thing I've been saying for the past how many months? How many years even at this point? Like, seriously. All the time, energy, everything that was poured in, down the drain. It's over. New Hampshire will be fun too, because if Trump wins that even by one vote, this is even more over. Let's see. Caesar Hurtados is pretty wild. The corporate press is even tracking who's coming in second with great interest, transparent how much the powers that be dislike DJT. The corporate press is the enemy of the people. Charles Sapp says Noam is not on the short list. South Dakota State Representative Jensen, who's one of the top 5 South Dakota House members, says that he knows that Noam is not the VP. I don't know. It's possible. We hear these inside sources all the time. I don't know what's true and what's not. I mean, you hear sources. Doesn't necessarily mean everything they're saying is true. We heard sources that said DeSantis, if he doesn't win Iowa, he would drop out and endorse Trump. And then they shot down the rumors instantly. So sources in general, they're not always known for being the most accurate. So I would tell people to have a little bit of caution about that. Apparently, Bill Mitchell's tweeting about Ron's surgery. Is that, I mean, like, Bill Mitchell's insane. He's legitimately insane. Oh, he's surging. Oh, he's down by like 30 instead of down by 35. Wow. He has a big vote dump to cut the lead to 42. Oh, no. It's over for Trump, even though he's been projected the winner and even though the needle has him winning by over 30 and has DeSantis in third place, ironically enough. Just wait till we fill out the entire map. We're only 4% of the way done. Let's see. S. Childs for 20. So Jim Bridenstine would make a great VP pick. Elon's friend and former NASA head who ushered in privatization contracts. I don't know who that is. And the fact that I don't think anybody knows who that is, or at least in terms of the majority of the electorate, I don't know if it'd be the best pick. That sounds like more of a cabinet position if they actually are pretty solid. Garrett Vrankar says, do you see Vivek getting a cabinet position? And so what job would be best? I don't know. I haven't thought of it entirely. John Waffle, H2P, says Vivek would be better off running for a House or Senate seat. I hope we see him in the future. He could have ran for Senate, or he could have dropped out and ran for Senate in Ohio. He didn't. He probably would have got the Trump endorsement if he were to run. Let's see. David T says, what are your thoughts on a Trump and Vivek reconciling along the primary trail and seeing a Trump Ramaswamy ticket? Like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Vivek is in consideration. I think Vivek is, like I said, I think Trump doesn't want to pick somebody who is like too much like him personality-wise. And it's understandable because you're front and center and you need somebody who's going to complement you in some way. I think like somebody like Ben Carson, like we've been talking about or like it's been talked about, is a more likely pick for Donald Trump. Just because of the fact that, yeah, I mean, he's arguably a little too soft-spoken at times, but he kind of like mellows out Trump's image a little bit more, which I mean, Trump's kind of more mellow now anyways. He's not as like bombastic, but he's more measured, I should say, compared to like 2016, and not in a bad way either. But I don't know. I just feel like him picking Vivek, I don't know. I think Vivek will run again. He might even get the nomination, depending on who else is in the field. But I really don't think Trump is going to pick him to be VP. I don't. And I think Trump's successor or his natural successor just isn't really there yet that we know for sure. I don't think he's going to really be able to pick somebody that will be his natural successor on the ticket. I think that 2028, you might see them get his endorsement. I don't know, but I think who he picks for VP probably is not somebody that's going to be seen as that 2028 nominee. I've been saying that for years now, and I think it's still true. And John W. asked the same question in terms of who he's going to pick as a VP. I don't know who he's going to pick. I really don't. We hear talks about Kristi Noem, Elise Stefanik, Ben Carson, Lee Zeldin, all these people. And, you know, there's pros and cons to everybody. I've made several videos about it, but I don't know who it's going to be. Like, we don't know for sure. We don't have a definitive answer. But anyways, guys, like the stream, hit that subscribe button, smash it, shatter it, hit the bell. Let's get to 159. 159,000. We are knocking on the door. Make sure we get there. We're less than 100 away. And like the stream as well. Make sure, what are we at in the likes department? Let's see what we can hit. Let's see if we can hit 4,000. We've got 4,400 in chat. We've got 3,000 likes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get it up there, folks. Let's get it up there. Let's see. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to pick Vivek. I think that he's kind of a little slighted that he's still in the race. But, I mean, I think they'll make up. I think he'll be fine. I mean, Vivek is a hell of a campaigner, given the fact that he basically boosted his name ID from 0, like absolute 0, to somebody who's getting 8% in this field against Donald Trump. even, who's like a former president, against somebody who's the most well-known Republican governor, against somebody who's like the most well-known propped up neocon. So yeah, him getting, the percentage of the vote he's getting is somewhat impressive given the circumstances. He has a future, and he's a hell of a campaigner. If he goes around the country and campaigns for Trump in the swing states relentlessly, yeah, I think that's a very, very, very good thing. I just don't know if he's going to be the VP. He'll probably be in close quarters with the VP. He'll be one of Trump's advisors. I think that could be a good thing. But we just don't know what his role is really just going to be yet. And I think Trump doesn't know what it's going to be yet. But I think Trump is kind of pressuring him out of the race a little bit. He says, I like Vivek, but, he's not helping out MAGA. He's not, servicing the role that he was, in the optimal capacity the longer he's in the race. And you could say, well, people should just vote the way they want. People prefer Vivek or whatever. It's like, yeah, but we can't allow Nikki Haley to win New Hampshire. You can't. These states are winner take all. It's like you like a third-party candidate, but it's 49-49 in the percentage-wise. It's decided by one vote. If you pick the third-party candidate instead of the candidate you like that can win, it's disservicing. It is. So, anyways, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys do that. Sam Madsen said, a prominent simp tweeted, how do I tell my wife that I lost $5,000? I think so, yeah, a lot of the people that actually were dumb enough to put their money where their mouth is probably will be filing for divorce or getting served with divorce papers by the end of the month. Mike D says, Steve Deese is so pathetic on X. Yeah, I didn't remember him being that awful 2 years ago. He really fell off. But he wasn't ever Trumper back in 2016 apparently, so it makes sense. Fixed Bayonet says, if RFK peels off 4% in New York, Trump wins with Zeldin. I don't know. I think him picking Zeldin would help out in New York. It'd help out for the House races. I don't think he's going to win New York. He's not even going to contest it as much as he's going to contest Pennsylvania. But even so, New York shares a border with northeastern Pennsylvania. Trump campaigning in that general area helps out with the House races, and it helps out with the state of Pennsylvania at large. So I'm all for it. D. Aaron in Connecticut says, D. Aaron in Connecticut, but live in Florida now. When do you predict the primary race will be over? New Hampshire, South Carolina, Super Tuesday, hoping for more epic trolls. Yeah, I'm fine with it going on until Super Tuesday. If they keep up the charade past this point and the margins of victory are the same, it's going to be annoying. But in general, yeah, it's going to be over before that. I think Nevada is going to be a brutal win for Trump compared to some of these other people. You look at New Hampshire, even if Trump wins New Hampshire by 10 or 15, everyone should just drop out because there's no chance that Nikki Haley can win South Carolina. There's no chance that DeSantis is even going to win a single state. So, yeah. Yes Man says, has anyone ever been far, even has decided to use... Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm totally kidding. Last one, I swear, keep up the good work. I don't know what's up with the nonsensical copy pasta super chats, but... it is what it is. Inside joke, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm just not, most cases, I'm just not going to read it. It's a disclaimer. But a 30-point lead for Trump so far and counting. They have him in the needle at 52. They have Haley in second still, even though she's not in second, but DeSantis is not really far ahead. He's ahead by 99 votes. And there's a lot of votes left to be tabulated. David T. says, next question, thoughts on Trump picking better cabinet members as opposed to last term, where he, if he were to win the general, do you think he has learned from his mistakes? Love your videos, by the way. Well, I'm not going to expect everything to be perfect. I'm aware. But the people he's surrounding himself with now are much better. The articles that he's reading and posting on Truth are from actual base people who actually do want to save this country. He's not reading he's not watching a lot of these more establishment people at Fox News that just will glaze him for ratings. He's listening to people that are actually, they believe in his original message. So I think that he's learned from his mistakes to a certain extent. He's lamented some past hirings. That's a good thing. I don't know if it's all going to be perfect. I don't know if he's going to be able to go out there, fully drain the swamp, do X, Y, and Z. But do I think his second term is going to be better than his first term? Yes, it always was supposed to be. People, if they remember, before the election, there were a lot of talks of that. Oh, he's going to clean house a little bit. Oh, he's going to do this. But then the whole election thing happened and, everything was history. So there's a chance to do that. But yeah, if you get first term Trump for another term, it's like good. But is it perfect? No. I think you're going to get in the middle of those two, though. So let's see. Aaron Votan says, Rep, if you had to take a job with Fox News, Blaze, Daily Wire, or Newsmax, which would it be? Well, it depends what you define as take a job. If I were to get a contract with the Daily Wire, which is, bringing in a ridiculous amount of traffic, yeah, I'd take it. Yes, I have criticisms of them. No, I don't think it would ever happen. But in general, and I do like some people there. I'm not saying I don't, but there's also some people there where I'm not really that big fans of them. But yeah, I mean, if I got a job offer, if they wanted to me to do a show for them and they had a producer for me and everything like that, yeah, I'd take it. Because you get a lot of exposure because they promote their creators. Some of these other networks don't promote their creators. Like Fox News, would I do Fox News? Yeah, if I'm getting a Tucker Carlson tier slot as a major news anchor, but do I think that's realistic? Probably not, but maybe one day, who knows? I like what I do on YouTube. I do. I like it a lot, so you never know. Newsmax is kind of just like Fox Light. It's better than Fox in terms of some people, but who watches Newsmax? I don't know a lot of people that watch them. I know some people do, but it's not carried in every household, and it should be, maybe, if you're going to have 4, liberal shill networks like CNN, MSNBC, and you only have Fox, which is establishment Republican, maybe you have a couple good people on it from time to time. It's yeah, we probably should have a more anti-establishment, right-wing, conservative, authentic news outlet that has that pull, but we don't have that. Maybe Tucker Carlson will do that. The Tucker Carlson network thing, I don't know, people haven't talked about it recently, but he's going to start that. TCN, I think that'd be cool to kind of be one of the headliners there. That might even be more realistic as well for me to get a show on there. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen there, but maybe. Mean Gene in Florida says Trump, Rubio would swamp the Dems. We get Latino votes in records and set Marco up for 2028. Rubio would be a professional VP. Look, I don't hate Rubio the way some people do. On the right, I think he's improved a lot. He endorsed Trump. But first of all, Rubio's from Florida. Second of all, would he be my first choice to be president? He's still, this is the same guy that was a part of the Gang of Eight amnesty bill from, 10 years ago, 12 years ago? And it's yeah, he's lamented it. Yeah, he's improved, but I don't think he's that figure. I don't think he'd be anything other than a VP to round out a ticket. And he's not going to be Trump's VP because he's the senator of Florida. I just don't see it happening. So, I don't know. DeSantis passed 1,000 votes. He did, technically. He's still 99 votes ahead of Nimrata. Rich Lamb says, I don't know with Vivek VP and the energy of him doing a lot of speeches, and if Trump did the amount of energy of a lot of speeches, I think it would be a great combo to get work, debate, and speeches done to get a lot more support. I mean, I think that Vivek on the campaign trail is a good thing. I just don't know if Trump wants him as VP. That's what I'll say. I've heard sources which are not always accurate, but I don't know. VP? I just don't know if I can see it yet, especially with the recent attacks, which were pretty tame, but still, I don't think he's on the radar for VP. Cabinet, definitely. Campaign, surrogate later on that campaigns, definitely. But VP, no. They are coping so hard on Twitter. Thomas Massey's coping too. And it's sunk cost fallacy for all these people. throwing their support behind DeSantis only to see it just like blow up in everybody's faces. The guy never had a shot. If you have grievances with Trump, you should support Trump and like try to get in his inner circle and talk to him about it instead of supporting somebody that has literally all the same flaws and then some as Donald Trump. Turn for 50. That's the record tonight. If somebody wants to beat it, be my guest. But love your unrelenting coverage of Republican side politics. Let's go, Brandon, FJB. And always remember, our men and women are walking the thin blue line. Vote for Trump if you love this country. And if you don't like America, GTFO, hashtag Trump 2024. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the super chat. So shout out to Turnt for being the record holder so far. But yeah, absolutely. Donald Trump with another masterclass primary performance as anticipated by a lot of people. He leads by over 30 points. There's ways to go. The coping has ensued. They're now trying to claim they're trying to claim that Trump's stealing the primary with the media because they called it for Trump early. It's like, no, Trump is winning by 30. If it's a 5-point race, maybe you could talk about how the media has influence. But if you're winning by 30, 40, or in that range, in every single caucus, in the entire state, yeah, this is a problem. This is a major, major issue. Major issue. I mean, the DeSantis campaign is saying, it's the media. It's the media. Like, come on. No, the media is doing what they've always done. Seriously. And I know that the vote counting is not ended. Trump, could he fall below 50? I don't believe he will, but it's possible. I don't think the New York Times anticipates that he will. A lot of these precincts are in from a lot of these, like, counties where Trump's not even doing that well. But even in, like, Polk County, it's like he's, like, in the mid-30s, and 3% of the vote there is reported. So I don't know when it's all said and done what it's going to show. But the precincts that are mostly all the way in, Trump is doing very well in. All even the big counties, the smaller counties, Iowa County, which is, well, there's not really that many votes there, but Dubuque, Trump with a big lead in Dubuque, Iowa. Oh, whoa, what happened? There's a lot of votes poured in. And Trump's lead grew. Trump is at 54%. 26% of the vote is in Donald Trump with an astounding lead, 54 to 19.4 for DeSantis to 18.1 for Nikki Haley. And Trump is running it up in a lot of these counties. They poured in a bunch of votes from a lot of these places, and Trump is expanding his lead. More counties pouring in. 31% of the vote in. Trump did drop a tiny bit, but still, a third of the vote is in. And what does it show? It shows that Donald Trump has a sizable lead, and it's growing, and he is over 50%. And Johnson County's for Trump now. Trump's winning Johnson County. The more votes that poured in, the better Trump did, even in these places where he wasn't doing that well in. Yeah, his lead, like, statewide is not... Okay, Polk County's in, 16% of the vote. His overall percentage dropped, but his raw vote margin grew in the county. Joseph Wiley says, for VP, do you think Carrie Lake or Kristi Noem? When Trump appointed Barrett to the Supreme Court, he said, I think he wanted a woman for that position, which I think is not the right way to go. I think you have to pick the best person for the job. I think there were probably some men that were better for that position. But I mean, for electoral purposes ahead of the election, I don't think he wanted to ramp up the whole abortion issue, and like the optics of it being a woman is a little bit different. But Trump is kind of seen as like a more moderate Republican on abortion anyways, to the point where I don't think he needs that for VP. And Kristi Noem, I have my grievances with her. I don't think she'd be the worst option. She would not be Haley bad, but she would not be ideal in my book. I think she is one of the front runners. Some people say their sources say otherwise. Carrie Lake is running for Senate. She's not going to be VP under any circumstances. I think that people need to get that through their head, because I get a lot of comments about it. I don't know if they don't know she's running for Senate. They think she's just going to like drop out on a whim and be Trump's VP. But Trump endorsed her for Senate. That kind of shows to me that he's not interested in her as VP. I think, like I said, she's very similar to him in terms of ability and charisma And from the wing of the party that he's from, I think he's looking for a little bit of a contrast, not too much. You don't want to, pick somebody who's not going to, want to fulfill your agenda, but he is going to be looking for somebody that's a little bit more of like a contrast, and that's the way it is. So in terms of my next super chat, wait, actually, that's not my next super chat. Let's see. Ascending says, remember all the DeSantis shills spamming your tweets after 22 insisting I'm always wrong and that Lake is just grifting. You're all cultists. Yeah, I mean, these same people wanted Karen Taylor Robson, who's a complete neocon, rhino, to be governor of Arizona, and they claim that Trump is a fake conservative or whatever. Like, seriously, they have no principle. Their only principle is they don't like Trump. They like to shill for the establishment in subtle ways. If Trump says something based, it's unelectable. If Trump does something cringe, they'll never live it down. But usually they overblow these things, and usually what Trump says isn't even that cringe all the time, and there's tactful reasons behind his statements on like abortion and stuff. Like, he doesn't want to amplify the issue. Like, he'll take credit for overturning Roe v. Wade. He said he would overturn it. I don't think it's that unpopular in the first place. Like, some leading polls will say it's unpopular that it's overturned, but like, the states having the rights to dictate the policies, like if you poll that question, which is what overturning Roe actually does, it's like 55% in favor. Now, how Republicans handled the fallout, that's a whole nother story. That's extremely unpopular. They got to find a way to overcome their Achilles heel. Because if you can't win elections, Democrats will have power. You'll have the most record abortions ever recorded in history. Because of that, it's going to get a lot worse. So you do have to be tactful. You do. Jake Wish said, who do you think the VP will be? Like I said, it could be Carson. It could be Noam. It could be Zeldin. It could be Stefanik. There's a few other options. I don't think it's anyone from Florida. It's not anybody that's running for Senate. It's not Kerry Lake. I don't think Tucker's in serious consideration. I'd love Tucker as an advisor, though, a chief of staff. That'd be huge. Prepper03 says, after 2024, if the nation makes it through the turmoil of a Trump or Biden second term, how well do you see politics changing after all the Trump derangement, after Trump is gone? Well, I don't know. That's a very loaded question. I could not have expected how politics would have been from, 2016 until now. So we'll have to see what happens. I think that if Trump gets a second term, he probably does get things done if he has a trifecta, which I think that it's like a BOGO. You get the presidency, you get the House. The Senate probably goes your way anyways because the map is so favorable. So yeah. Mary Whitney, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate it. So, all right, let's check the results. Any updates? 37% of the vote is in. Trump is a similar lead. He's up by 32 points. It's over. When Story County reports, Trump will be winning every county. He'll pull off the full Grassley, not in terms of the counties he's going to, but in terms of the full Grassley from Grassley's electoral masterclass performances where he'd win every county in Iowa. Is there a county in the country that isn't going to vote for Trump? I mean, I probably, yeah, when you get to New Hampshire. And it's possible Trump could lose Johnson County, but like realistically speaking, he's the favorite. The more votes that have been cast, the more that have been tabulated, he's gaining. Jessica Tennis says, in my opinion, VP will be Pompeo. He's always been loyal. Yeah, not really. I mean, he's been critical lately. I don't even think he's endorsed Trump for one. For two, he's definitely on foreign policy, more of like an interventionist. I'd say he's like kind of has these neocon tendencies, so I don't think that's going to be the case. But we're looking at Trump right now. He's in a very solid position to win. Very solid position. He already won in terms of the projection. But in terms of everything else, he's doing pretty well. The margins as well. The margins matter. Is he hitting my 54.7? Not quite. But he doesn't need to. He still won by a similar margin. John Waffle, H2P, says, I think Stefanik would be the best option. Well, the next super chat contradicts and says, please, God, not Stefanik. She's a rainbow Republican, almost as bad as a Haley. Here is my take on the Stefanik stuff. I think her voting record in Congress for much of her term, she was a centrist. She was a rhino. I know. But at the same time, I don't think she'd be the worst option for him because she has a foot in that door with the party and the donors. And she also is not like subversive. She will bend the knee to Trump when necessary. And that is something that I think Trump wants because he doesn't want somebody to get in his way. He wants somebody to defend him. So I don't think it'd be the worst option possible. I don't think it'd be the best option, but I'm not going to like cry about it. Like I won't. It's not the worst pick in the world. Even though, yeah, I think there are flaws she has. Trump does like her a lot though. So do what you will with that information. Yeah, this is a record victory. For a non-incumbent, this is a masterclass. Incredible. Incredible. Okay. Let's see. More super chats. D. Aaron in Connecticut won. I don't know, however you pronounce it. You said it last super chat. Thanks again. Great live stream. How much will the Vivek or DeSantis campaign platforms or ideas be incorporated into Trump's agenda? I mean, a lot of them are the same. Like, Vivek is definitely interesting, and I'll give him credit where it's due because I think he has a very good gun policy. I think he has very good bureaucratic strategy, gutting a lot of these agencies. So I think some of that is probably, something that could be incorporated if Vivek becomes an advisor. Otherwise, I don't know. Trump's Agenda 47 is in and of itself pretty good. And DeSantis doesn't really have that much of a platform. Just like, he really doesn't. Like, he'll talk about certain things, but it's very vague. I don't think Trump needs to incorporate anything that DeSantis has said that he would do in the White House into his agenda, because there was no main focus of his campaign. And that's why he lost. Oh, make America Florida, freedom. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Seriously. Okay, I think the guy that said he lost 5,000 on Twitter is a troll account, a high-effort troll account, because I've seen that PFP used before on other troll accounts. But yeah, it's the same guy who said, I'm voting for DeSantis because he's like JFK. He's faithful to his wife, unlike Trump. And it's like, yeah, JFK was not known for being faithful to his wife. These people are jokes. But I think that account is parody. I do. Yeah, it turns out that the people of Iowa didn't care that Laura Loomer posted something you didn't like on Twitter. Seriously. Turns out that people found you insufferable. Turns out that people still stand with Donald J. Trump. They want him back. They are just crying out for help under this administration. They want to return to the last administration. And all your hundreds of millions of dollars spent against him, the AstroTurf campaign, the demoralization campaign, neocon media propping up Haley, propping up DeSantis, it's gone. It's out the window. Doesn't matter. Another win for Donald Trump. Another masterclass performance. Let's go. Let's go. Let's move on to New Hampshire. It's the Howard Dean thing. New Hampshire and South Carolina and Michigan and Nevada, all the way to the White House. It's true. It's true. And honestly, I think Howard Dean would have been the nominee if that happened today, because I don't understand how that held him back, because it was such a meme, but that was before meme culture really took place. But let's see. Jacob Martin says, all the polls are fake. Yeah, the polls are fake. John Waffle says, Stefanik has gotten better on the issues. Yeah, I agree. I mean, she has, but I don't think she's ideal. But if she's going to be the type of VP that sits in the corner and doesn't do anything, then good. Why would I oppose that? I'm not going to say it's a bad thing because she had a mediocre voting record. There's a lot of nuance that does go into this stuff that I think that Trump and a lot of people close to him are thinking about that your average person isn't. But I don't know if she's going to be considered the front runner. But I'm just saying, if she ends up being the VP nominee in the running mate, it's usually going to be for a reason. FB says, I heard Trump might not be able to run. No, he's going to be able to. No questions asked. Shoe Monster for the 20. Thank you for the super chat. Stephen Reed says Vivek for Secretary of State or Press. Yeah, Vivek would be an amazing press secretary because he's very quick on his feet. He's very rhetorically talented. I mean, even speeches of him, like giving his valedictorian speech in high school, he's always been just gifted. And that's a good thing. So if he's Trump's press secretary, if he's going to defend Donald Trump, yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I always said Carrie Lake would be a really good press secretary too, but hopefully she wins the Senate race, so I don't really want to think of her in that role. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Vivek for press secretary. Secretary of State, I don't know. I think he wants somebody that probably has a little bit more experience, but also shares his worldview regarding foreign policy. It's slim pickings in that department for sure, but I mean, you could find somebody. He could find somebody. But press secretary, he'd be great in that role. He'd be phenomenal. But yeah, Trump, 52.8% in Iowa. He's got 16 delegates now. 16. That's huge. He's got 2/3 of the allocated delegates. Yeah, all they're gonna say is Trump didn't win with 80% of the vote, so it's an underperformance, which was never what we were saying. First of all, they're gonna straw man like that. They're gonna say Trump will lose the general, which is not true, and I'll be making a video on that pretty shortly. And also, it's like they'll say the indictments, which I think may have played a role. But I don't think they played the main role. DeSantis just ran an awful campaign. He didn't navigate it properly. I think the fact that he just brushed it aside and went out there and said, oh, well, I don't know what goes into that thing. But we did this thing in Florida that was good or whatever. That was his response to it. That really dropped the ball for him more so than anything else. It's how he responded to it too, because he didn't run a competent campaign. And they will blame everybody except for themselves. Daniel Krieger says, hey, Rep, the coverage you're delivering is awesome. Keep it up. Well, thank you. If Trump is up by this much in the early vote, I can't imagine what his lead will be after day of vote. Well, I mean, there's no early vote for this caucus. I hate to break it to you. But, yeah, there's no election day vote for the caucus for sure. But, yeah, he's winning big. Sanderford says, Red Eagle for Secretary of State. Let's make it happen. I mean, look, I don't know if I'd like that role. I don't know. I don't have any experience, so I can't even be in the cabinet. Not old enough. But I appreciate the offer. Joseph Wiley says, I'm Team Trump. Just want to say at least DeSantis is a real conservative. He should have waited till 2028. Never Nikki. Vivek is not bad. Well, DeSantis might be a conservative, but I think that Trump is so much more than that. So some people will say Trump's not a conservative. DeSantis is the conservative here. It's yeah, on some issues fiscal conservatism or whatever, which again, DeSantis voted to raise the debt ceiling, so maybe not. But Trump is a nationalist too. He's somebody who believes in American exceptionalism. He wants to revive the American dream. That I think is more important than, he takes this social conservative stance here. I think that's better done on the state level. That's better done on the local level. That's better done with taking back our cultural institutions if you want conservatism. And the only way to do that is put somebody in power that will do anything possible to discredit them, to shatter them. And that's nobody except for Donald Trump. Donald Trump's the guy to do that. So conservative, yeah, Trump has blind spots in some areas, but overall, he's a net positive. Overall, he wakes people up. Overall, he makes people more based than he ever is on certain things, just by his presence in politics and how polarizing he is. So it's a good thing. I think so. Let's see. Zip sent 10. Thank you. Trash Panda 5150 says, you're a professional YouTuber and political correspondent. Please use proper pronunciation with candidate names. Vivek rhymes with cake. Look, I've heard a lot of people say Vivek. It's Vivek. I mean, technically Vivek, but I've heard a lot of people call him Vivek as well. It probably is Vivek. You're probably right. But Ramaswamy, that's accurate. Deuce Volt says Bush was also fiscally concerned. Yeah, Bush was not a bad governor. I mean, both Bushes were not bad governors. They weren't like seen as rhinos or neocons there. But when they got to the levers of power, they were bought out by the donor class that they needed to rely on out of state to get elected. Donald Trump didn't need to do that. Donald Trump just went out there and ran a campaign against the establishment. Just basically, his name recognition was he built buildings and he had a TV show, and he was like a well-known billionaire with a big personality. A lot of people didn't take him seriously, but the more people that paid attention and did, well, look where we're at now. He won, and he's got to win again. We don't have any other option at this point. Payne Tor says Trump, Giuliani, 2024. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, let's be real. Rudy's like almost as old as Trump is at this point, isn't he? Like, he's not. He's definitely not going to be in the VP shortlist. Decent amount of baggage there, but I like Rudy. But he had a chance to run for president and win back in 2008, and he dropped the ball immensely. Almost not nearly as much as DeSantis did, though. That's for sure. We've been going on for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Yeah, Trump's also a populist. That's also true. I think he is a conservative. I think he is a social conservative on certain things. I think on other things, he just doesn't care. Like, the people that are like, oh, Trump is too pro-gay. It's like, is he really? Or does he just like not care that much about the issue either way? I think it's more the latter. I think that's the thing. Jedi223 says Twitter's going crazy, claiming media influence race by calling it too early. Some even claim the media is... Oh, yeah, well, apply the same logic to Arizona. None of those people would do it to Arizona last year. None of them would do it to the House in 2018. None of these people are talking about that. So, whatever. Yeah, unbelievable. How did unleashing the Pushaw? How did that go? How did the Bob de Vanderplatz endorsement go? How did the Kim Reynolds endorsement bump go? How did that affect this race? We heard so much about Kim Reynolds endorsing. Oh no, she's very popular. She's totally not unpopular. She's totally not like one of the more unpopular governors in the country. Well, apparently, she didn't move the needle. Chris Sununu, I don't like Chris Sununu. I despise Nikki Haley. At least he's moving the needle for her in New Hampshire. And arguably to Trump's detriment, which is not a good thing. But, like, we heard so much about this. And it's like, even the predictions leading up to Election Day, we heard, oh, well, Donald Trump is going to underperform. Donald Trump is going to end up getting in the low 40s. And DeSantis is going to get in the 30s. We heard, how many times did we hear that take? The coping take. Oh, well, DeSantis, he's going to win by 10. Or he's going to lose by 10. And that's a win for Trump. Like, seriously? Not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. Let's see. Tyler Myers says, next, Madison Cawthorn revenge arc. I heard he lives in Florida now, so I don't think he's going to run for that district. I don't know, maybe. I think that they'd stop him from getting in just because of the fact that they really want to punish him for exposing some of their shenanigans that we know of, that he probably, to be honest, may or may not have been taking part in himself. Otherwise, how would he know? But Jake Wish says, what is one policy that you think Trump can implement in his first term that people don't think he can do? I mean, I don't know. I think people have like high hopes for things he's going to do to begin with. So like if you're talking about like the DeSantis people that like doubt certain things, like maybe he'd like do something on like the transgender stuff that he's talked about. Like maybe he'd ban genital mutilation for minors, like nationwide. It's in his platform. Like, yeah, I think that, or I don't know, maybe he could like try to, like the whole Freedom Cities thing. I don't know how that's going to work out, but maybe he could try to get the ball rolling on that. I'd love the family stuff, the family growth policies that he's talked about, the Orban type stuff that's been done in Hungary that he's brought. Nobody ever talks about that, but like that's enough on its own to support Donald Trump, regardless of anything. So yeah, I think that Trump's agenda, we'll be touching into Trump's agenda as well as the primaries wind down and as we get closer to the general for sure. That's a thing we need to touch on for sure. Joseph Wiley says Trump is strong on protecting women's sports and peace through strength. How about Ben Carson for VP? Well, I think if he's going to pick a man, I think Carson would be on the short list. Because think of it, Carson, he's from a swing state. He complements Trump's personality well. He's well respected by all wings of the party, even those that are not voting for Trump in the primary. So, yeah, I think it would be a decent selection. I don't think it'd be is he perfect? I mean, he's a little soft-spoken, a little too soft-spoken, which I think could be used as a positive. But, can he debate well against Kamala? I mean, she's not a difficult opponent, but, he did get kind of eviscerated back in 2016 a few times on that debate stage. That's why he was leading the polls for, a few days, even against Trump, and he fell, and he couldn't recover. But I like everybody likes Ben Carson. How can you hate Ben Carson? Some people that are the electobros will probably say oh, he said some controversial statements about comparing abortion to slavery or comparing Obamacare to slavery. Well, I don't even think the Obamacare to slavery thing is that bad. And the whole oh, he says this about the gays or whatever. Mike Pence was more known for that anyways, and that was fine. Nobody cared about that. But the whole abortion getting compared to slavery thing in a post-Roe America, maybe that's the one controversy they would bring up. But I mean, even then is he is somebody that is not going to be what people are voting for to be president. I mean, people vote for the president, not the VP. And if Trump had to choose Pence again for some reason, which he's not going to obviously, but let's say Pence was with his side the whole time and he still supports Trump and Trump wanted to pick him again, I think Pence would have a lot of those same flaws, and a lot of these same electobros will defend Mike Pence to this day. So what's the real answer here? S-Zip, I don't know how to pronounce that, says Vivek would be spectacular for Treasury if he'd accept it. Yeah, I mean, it depends what he'd bring to the table. I don't know if he'd be in consideration for that. I'd have to look through the list. It might not be a secretary position. There's other advisors in the cabinet that are not in the line of succession. Succession, I should say. Mitchell Ryan says, did you hear Democrats are trying to use the military to perform a coup to defy Trump's orders? I mean, they're using Congress to step in already and pass legislation limiting presidential power. They would not be doing that if they didn't think Trump was going to win, or at least had a very, very good shot to. So, yep. Donald Trump, so far, we haven't had any votes updated, but there's 40 delegates out of Iowa. Trump is on the verge of getting a majority as they put more votes in. Counties, these counties are all the way in. Trump's doing very well in a lot of these rural counties. Even Vivek is beating out Haley in some of these rural places so far. But yeah, a lot of these counties are mostly in. We're still waiting on some other counties to finish reporting. Seems as if Johnson County's 83% in. Dallas County's 24%, and this is probably where Trump's going to underperform the most, would be the Des Moines area. But even in some of these exurbs, he's pulling in 60% of the vote. So, I mean, he's gonna get a majority for sure at this point, pretty much. They docked him down to 51. They also put DeSantis in second, but it's still a 30-plus point win. 30-plus point win for Trump. Take it or leave it. But we'll keep watching. We've got more. Oh, we don't have any more super chats, actually. But you feel free to send them in if you guys have any questions or comments, and definitely can look at regular chat as well. Somebody says we need a minority VP. I disagree. It's not like picking a minority to be VP is going to change people's perception of the GOP. It's not. Democrats will say that minority is a race traitor, and, Republican media will run articles about it thinking that that's going to change anything, and it's just not. It's just really not. It's like Trump picking Ben Carson. I'm down for it, absolutely, but it's not likely going to help bring in black voters. And if Trump does better with black voters, I think he will, it's not going to be because Trump picked Ben Carson for VP. Like, if there's any ethnic group that picking somebody could, improve with, maybe it's Hispanics, but I don't see any viable Hispanic VP. You could say, what about Mike Garcia? First of all, he's got a scandal that he's kind of in with the insider trading thing. I don't know how accurate that is. He still might find a way to win that seat. But he's at a contested House seat that's pretty blue, and he probably, we probably would admit losing that seat. We'd be admitting defeat if you put him on the ticket. And I don't think he's really on Trump's radar enough. So, Red Tsunami 123 with a Bill Mitchell update. He's talking about turnout. Now, okay. Mike D says, can you see Trump picking Tulsi as VP? Probably not, but I think that she could be in the cabinet. He almost picked her for Secretary of State. He would have had a much better administration had he done so. But nope, he's probably not going to pick her for VP. I don't know how much. Is she even endorse Trump? I don't even know. I think she will, unless she decides to go for RFK Jr., which is still a possibility. But let's see. I don't know. I can't see it, but maybe if she gets on his radar, it's an outside chance of being a possibility. I don't know. Somebody says, why do you guys need a loud VP? It's a valid question, honestly. I think a lot of people think the VP is more important than it really is. So they want somebody in there who's like Trump 2.0 or a successor to Trump possibly. And I just don't see it that way. I think the VP is a compliment to Trump, but you don't want them getting in their way. And yeah, you want to be able to sleep at night if they happen to get in the White House in that position, but you really should never want to see them in that position. And that's kind of where I see it. So some people are like, why are you cocking on the VP thing? I'm just trying to view it realistically because that's the way that Trump's going to view it, probably. Great. Cap and King says, will a no-label ticket hurt Trump? No. It hurts Biden, actually. Depending on who it is, but probably would hurt Biden. Might be Joe Manchin even. Security TV says, this morning Fox News was encouraging voters to stay home because of the cold. The way they said it just seemed weird. Maybe just me being paranoid. Well, if they actually did that, which I'm not entirely sure about, who knows? That might have impacted Trump's margin of victory. Like I said, I didn't know how the weather would have things shake out. Per the Seltzer poll, I said Trump would outperform it. He outperformed it, it seems. I don't know if he's going to finish off with 53, but he's going to finish off with more than, 48%? Because the Seltzer poll had Trump below 50. It was 48-20. He's at 53. DeSantis is actually in second. I don't know if that's going to stand, but it probably at this point I could see it standing because he's maintained that lead. And it is a brutal blow for Nikki Haley ahead of New Hampshire that she's not in second. So it is a good thing that she did finish in third for that purpose. But yeah, Davenport, Trump, yeah, even these big cities, he's not getting a majority in every single one. But still, you don't need that. You don't need to get a majority, Sioux City he will. I think he won Sioux City back in 2016 even. So, someone said Ben Carson said Latinx on Fox hard no. I don't know if, is that even true? Because it doesn't seem like the type of guy that would say that. And if he did, maybe it was ironic. I don't know. I didn't see the clip. Dirty Dog says something about Vivek is off. I don't trust him. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people feel that way. I mean, I don't entirely blame them for feeling that way. You have somebody that was a nobody who just popped up out of nowhere. The difference between him and somebody like Trump, who is an outsider, that changed some views, is that Trump was always viewed as this American exceptionalist billionaire who used the slogan, make America great again for almost 2 decades on and off. Whereas Vivek, he kind of came out of nowhere. And he's like, what does he actually believe? Who is this guy? I don't blame people for feeling that way. Now, I don't think he's entirely a plant or whatever, but I don't blame people for being skeptical. I guess you should be skeptical of everybody and what their intentions are. I know what Trump's intentions are, though. He wants to run for president. He already was president. He has a record. So a lot of the skepticism about Trump that people may have had back in 2016, if they had it, is kind of a little bit out the window because we saw his worst case scenario in the White House, and it was not bad, and people want it back. So take it or leave it. That's why he's winning right now. 53.3, by the way. How many people do we have in chat? Almost 4. We still have 4,000 people in chat. That's incredible. 4,000 people. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the fact that turnout's going to probably be like 100,000, that's crazy given the weather. And this is why you vote early if you can. And some Republicans don't like that. But you saw what happened with the Nevada Senate race. Adam Laxalt would be senator right now if Republicans embrace early voting more. Because had they done so, the snowstorms in northern Nevada would not have impacted his race. He lost by a few thousand votes, despite being vastly outspent. If you had the early voting infrastructure, at least just told people to vote early if they could, it would have been a lot better. It would have been. Because people aren't going to go to the polling place when it's cold, especially in a place where it's not supposed to, like snow. Dirty Dog says, I think he is a plant from the establishment. I mean, I don't know. Like, I look into it, and it's like he got funded by some, like, Soros scholarship. It wasn't from George Soros. It was from the other Soros, and he's still, like, a liberal. But, like, that was back in the day where you're just, like, applying to scholarship. Like, Vivek was a Democrat for a while. I think he was at a town hall for CNN asking a question as, like, an undecided primary voter in 2004. Which, I mean, if you're like a 19-year-old who opposes Bush and voted Democrat in 2004, I sympathize with that because I don't like Bush either. It doesn't mean that voting Democrat is the right move, but I'm saying I understand it. I'm not going to say, oh, well, if you do that, then you're bad. Carrie Lake voted for Obama in 2008. She didn't vote for him in 2012, it seems. But, yeah, I mean, if you were misled because you had legitimate grievances with Bush that you should still have today, and you voted Democrat back in the day, I'm not going to hold it against you. Bobby Walter says, I agree with Dirty Dog. Vivek is suspicious, like Cat Williams calling out Kevin Hart, just shows up and gets away with everything. Well, yeah, I mean, that is kind of true. I mean, he's very talented rhetorically. He can talk his way out of anything. Like, that is true. Whether you like him or not, you have to admit it. He's very rhetorically talented. Engineer is short for systems engineer. I remain a fan of your channel, as well as Vivek for treasury. He knows how to handle money. He has no shadows in his financial life. He knows money. Well, I don't know, maybe. Antonio Harlan says Trump needs VP willing not to certify elector. Well, listen, the VP is not going to matter for that because Trump's only going to serve one term because he can't serve another unless he like tries to challenge the 22nd Amendment. Like, or whatever amendment it was, I think it's the 22nd. Like, other than that, the person who's going to have to certify the election is actually Kamala Harris, whether you like it or not. And that could be a disaster. That could be a train wreck. I guarantee you the Democrats will try to contest the results anyways. They will try to do it. They will find a way, and they will try to do it. That's my biggest fear. Not that Trump is not going to win at the ballot box. Not that Trump isn't going to win. Like, in terms of the certified total, my biggest fears are going to be like, oh, Republicans tried to do this last time, despite having some legitimate grievances, so we're going to do it on steroids. And I'm afraid of what the result of that could be. But we have a long way to go. We have to see what happens. But yeah, they lose the argument. Oh, the decency, challenging elections. All this stuff is out the window if you just look at it. Biden having like naked transgender people dancing around topless at the White House. Like, that's decency to you? That's decency? Oh, wow, returning to normal, right? Returning normalcy. Yeah, not really. Trump is the new normal. People want Trump back for a reason. That's why he's beating Biden in the polls. Let's see. But yeah, I don't think that's as big of an issue as people think, because the VP would not be the one certifying anything during Trump's term, except well, you know what? Maybe the next election, but I mean, who knows? The pendulum could genuinely switch back in the other direction for all we know. But yeah. Security TV says, I've just seen a poll. Fox did. People who thought the last election was fair and leaned Biden voted for Haley. Is that Dems that voted in the Republican caucus? Yeah, it could just be Dems, neocons, a mix of the both. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. That's also why I think the abortion question, that people that said they didn't want an abortion ban lean towards Haley instead of Trump, the way that the DeSantis people would like to try and frame it. Yeah, but I think Trump's going to pick up a lot more steam after this. He's going to pick up plenty more endorsements, even some establishment people that just see the writing on the wall. Yeah. 100%. 100%. They're quiet. They are quiet now. They are quiet. They have nothing to say. What's the cope now? I want to see people in the live chat say what the cope is going to be. Doomsday Machine says, something tells me 2024 is going to be the year of the blue-collar voter and the middle class. Trump 2024. I agree. Could be. Jack Sharp says Vivek for 28. Vivek. Yeah, that would be pronounced Vivek. Vivek 28 does rhyme, but I don't know. We'll see. Like, I'm not going to say Vivek would be my first pick in 2028, but I do believe that depending on the field, would I keep my options open? Am I going to shut it down? No. But the political climate then is going to be very different than it is now. So Trump is at 53.5% now. More votes came in. It's still saying 39%. So this is moving at a snail's pace. A snail's pace. But once again, make sure you guys like the stream. Let's get to 4,000 likes. Like the stream. Subscribe down below. Let's get to... Did we hit 159? We're probably knocking on the door. We're knocking on the door of 159K. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. If you want to use the live chat, you have to. We don't allow freeloaders in the chat anymore, ever since YouTube allowed that to be a possibility. Apparently Trump is speaking soon. Is that true? I don't know. Let's see. "2024's year of the dragon." Yeah, it is true. Trump has the dragon energy, as we know. So that's a good omen. Yeah, he's almost knocking out. Wait, what? Now it's 20% in? What happened? It went from 40% to 20% in. The vote totals didn't change. But, in fact, Trump gained. But it says 20% of the vote is in. How is that possible? Yeah, they took votes out of Polk County. I don't know. It's just... It's probably just a tabulation error of sorts. But we'll see. Hopefully nothing too shady going on for sure. Hopefully not, but it doesn't mean that there is. Let's just see what happens. I think they're just putting in more. They're tabulating. Their estimates could be off. I could look at Decision Desk and see what Decision Desk is saying. Decision Desk says 40% reporting, and it's the same exact. Actually, there's more vote total in the New York Times than Decision Desk. So they have Trump at 57.3. So yeah, everything's probably fine. Now it's back to 28% of the vote in. So I don't know what's going on. But Yeah, AP says 50. It's all over the place. The percentage reporting isn't always accurate. It doesn't mean that shady things are going on, but it's I don't know what's the deal here. They're reporting out of I think they're reporting they're re-reporting Des Moines. It's the same results, I think. I don't think they don't show it on Decision Desk, but they show it here. So yeah, Stephen Reed says establishing Pipers. Yeah, hopefully not. I think it's just an error. It's just a glitch. Trump's projected anyway, so it's not like what they're doing is really making any difference. He's still got the same margin. I think they just have a tabulation error or something. Sanjeeva Hirith says, why does counting election results take so long in the U.S.? It's only 100,000 votes in one state. Even India with 350 million votes finishes counting in 5 hours. Well, I think it's because people don't have common sense in this country anymore. People that run our election system don't have common sense, and I think the caucus system as a whole kind of sucks. And they're using the same app that the Democrats used to report ballots that took them like 3 years to count the ballots last year. So we're far ahead of schedule, actually. Security TV says $5 says Ben Shapiro's throwing a temper tantrum over his Florida Wonder Boy right now. Probably, yeah. Absolutely. All the never-Trumpers, all the neocons, they're not happy with this result. They thought they could beat Trump again in the Republican primary field, and they spent all this money, and it just amounted to nothing. Whatever the one guy who sent the super chat said, they would have been better off burning it all in a bonfire. 100% true. And Trump's totals are rising as we speak. So they're back to 35% reported. He's back to 51%. I guess they're still putting votes in from certain places. Sioux City just reported some more. Sioux County, Lyon County, some of these counties up here reported. Yeah. All right. Sam Madsen says, I was in Iowa a lot last summer. I only saw one single DeSantis sign. Yeah, go figure. I mean, this is just what's going on. This is where the climate is. Sanjeeva Hureth says, love your channel, man. A must-follow channel during this election season. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now they say it's 75% reporting. So they're all over the place. But all I know is that Trump, his raw vote margin's expanded. He leads by 30 points. I mean, yeah. He's really running up the score across the board. And Des Moines is like 90% in. We're still waiting on Story County. I think that is going to flip back to Trump. Trump still leads in Johnson County, which is good. I don't know if he'll hold that lead, but we'll see. But it's possible he'll win every county. It's possible. But like, these people aren't going to be there caucusing for the end of the night. Like, they should have the results sooner than later. That's why they did this dump all at once, and it's kind of like how they've been doing it. When they've been dumping the votes, it's been efficient, and I give credit where it's due. But the dumps have just been just so sporadic and sparse, and just throughout the night. Like, we've been streaming for almost 3 hours straight, and we're to 77%. Like, yeah, we know Trump won. We know he's probably going to clear 50%, which is like what I said. You need to make a statement. You need to clear 50. They say he's going to end up with 51, probably. And I think that might be about accurate. He did undershoot my prediction a little bit. Not by much. Not by enough to make a dent. But there was a lot we didn't know about the weather, how it would cause this thing to shake out. And I was right about Haley underperforming the Seltzer poll. She got 18.9%. DeSantis got 21%. But, I mean, DeSantis getting a 30-point second place finish to Trump in the state where he basically put all of his time, energy, and resources into, and he's polling in like 4th in New Hampshire. Yeah, I don't know if this is really going to do anything to bolster his chances. He should drop out. Like, for his own sake, he never should have ran. I get that, but at this point, he should drop out. Like, if he wants to save any ounce of credibility, to prove he's not like a total idiot, which we kind of already know he is for running, but it's like, no, it's over. Alex Mongold says, who do you think drops out after Iowa? Well, I think that maybe Hutchinson, maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see. I haven't heard about anybody dropping out yet. There's all this talk about who drops out first, what's going to happen. It's like, I don't know. We'll have to find out. But Trump has won Iowa. It's over. This race is over. It's good. It's a great thing. Feels good. If you're in Iowa, pat yourselves on the back because you did a good job. And the election's not over, but the fact that the primary is basically done early, it's done ahead of time. There's really like nothing to debate about at this point. That Trump was the favorite the whole time and likely was. Yeah, it's over. It's done. Especially for a caucus. The Iowa caucus, Trump didn't even win. It was one of his worst performances in 2016. He opens up with a 31-point masterclass victory. Incredible. It's just absolutely astounding that they actually thought they had a chance in either campaign. It's not only the DeSantis campaign. They're the more annoying people on Twitter, but the Haley campaign, they're funded by the donors. Haley scares me more. And I don't think she's going to win, obviously, even if she does come close in New Hampshire. But it's crazy. What's the record in Iowa again? Is it a 14-point win for a non-incumbent? Is it a 14-point win? Apparently, the Buccaneers are destroying the Eagles. I'm not surprised. Somebody mentioned that in chat. Yeah, no, that's over. That's over. That might just mean the Lions are going to the NFC Championship too, which is also good news because I don't really see them losing to Tampa, but you never know. But it's 12.8. 12.8's the record. 13 points for a non-incumbent. Phenomenal. Just awesome. You love to see it. It's crazy. 31-point win. I mean, it's not surprising, but like just seeing it unfold is like on a different level. Just seeing it unfold when we were told for months, oh, the polls would be wrong. Yeah, not really. Like, you could look at the polls. Maybe they did, overestimate Haley, underestimate DeSantis, but the Trump number is pretty much accurate. I mean, he's going to win by close to 30, if not by more. So that's huge. Yeah, second place is not that bad. I got a comment saying that on Twitter. Yeah, no. Absolutely not. That's huge. Feels good. Feels really good. Joshua Mills says, do you think the GOP establishment will try to pull some shenanigans at the convention? Well, they would have done that in 2016. There's less pull that they have now than back then. So I think Trump's going to be good. Yeah, second. It's not like he got a close second. It's not like he outperformed. And it's closer than it should have been. It's a 30-point loss. If you want to be picky about the polls, that's one thing. You want to do that shenanigans, type of ordeal, fine. And I think that a lot of these counties that say Haley's at 100%, that has to be a tabulation error. There's no way. There's absolutely no way Trump finishes in third place in Story County. I mean, Trump is going to win Johnson County more likely than not. This is over. I mean, it's over. The full Grassley. all they can say is they're just coping. Some are saying, "Oh, Biden's going to win now." Well, first of all, why do you want that? It's like they want that to happen. They want Biden to win. They really do. Some of them will talk about going third party. They want Biden to win. I'm not saying the average DeSantis voter in the caucus, but the average like Twitter influencer, yeah, these people are psyops. They're psyops. Their entire existence is a psyop, and they failed. So now they're going to be angry. They're going to be angry. They're going to bargain. They're going to be in the depression phase. It's the stages of grief. It's really what it is, the stages of grief. So, yeah, Pedro Gonzalez telling people to stay home. Really? Yeah, that guy bounces around the political compass like a bouncy ball. I don't care what he has to say. He probably will end up on Team Biden. He probably will. I mean, the guy is just a mess. Of course, a lot of people that are messes are attracted to voting for the mess. They are. Bill Mitchell, everyone. And Bill Mitchell probably will come back to Trump, even though he says he won't, because Bill Mitchell can change his opinions like that. And he was like the biggest Trump D-rider during Trump's presidency. The hottest pot says if Haley defeats DeSantis tonight, he should drop out. I don't think she will. I mean, it's possible, but I just don't see it. Even the Needle says that DeSantis is a 92% chance at second place. It's a good thing Haley did not get second, so she doesn't have that mandate ahead of New Hampshire. Let's see. Patriot345 says this is the biggest win in the Iowa Caucus history since Bob Dolan. Well, technically Trump in 2020 won the caucus, but he was an incumbent. This is the biggest non-incumbent Iowa Caucus victory in history that we know of. All the money. It's burned. See, all they're saying, get ready. Trump can't win. Trump can't win. Yeah, we got some tricks up our sleeve regarding the video department because we got to make something about it. Make a video or two about that. Yeah, that is huge. Absolute huge performance from Donald Trump. Who could have seen that coming? And Story County put their votes in. Trump won it, only by 4, but a win is a win. The other counties have not fully reported yet, but I mean, look, 84% of the votes are in. A lot of the counties that haven't fully tabulated are very Trump-friendly counties. Like, technically, there's still some votes left in Polk, still some left in Johnson. But seriously, Trump's margin of victory, he will remain above 50%, more likely than not. So that's absolutely huge. We did it. We did it. Get ready for the cope. Get ready for the cope. Get ready. Get ready. The polls were off by not 30. Oh, man. It feels good. It does. Enjoy it. But we got to work. We got to go back to work. We got to get back to New Hampshire. We got to build. We got to take the momentum. We got to bury these clowns. We got to make sure this primary is officially over anytime soon. But they are coping. The fact that they're just talking about Biden, what does it mean? It means that they know that they can't win. They know they can't win. DBLEO says the polls were right. Should worry Biden? Yes. Well, I mean, like, even if the polls are currently right, Biden still can rationalize, oh, I could still win, which is true. I even think it's true. I think we shouldn't overestimate our opposition or we're going to be very disappointed. But we got to do our part. But yeah, I mean, the polls being accurate, I mean, like I will say, I wouldn't take the polls to heart because the blizzard definitely lowered turnout. And maybe you could say Trump's base was more enthusiastic, and that's what some polling showed. But also, higher turnout overall probably might have benefited Trump as well because he won by such a big margin anyway. So I don't know. I think that the snowstorm definitely might have thrown a wrench in polling a little bit. But yeah, they're pretty accurate. Primary polls are usually a little bit more inaccurate than general election polls anyways because they're more volatile. They have higher margins of error for sure. And there's more contradictory ones. But Trump's at 51%, 85% of the votes are in. Good night. Good night, Ron DeSantis. Good night, Nimrata Haley. It's over. And good night, Chris Christie. He's already out of the race, but he can now go eat some McDonald's and go to bed. So that's that. That's that. Like, there's no rationale. Oh, Trump didn't outperform a lot. Like, okay, that was never the point. The point is that he would win by a lot. The gaslighting that we probably will see is crazy, but I don't even see people saying that. John Waffle H2P says there's a lawyer on X saying that Trump, oh, no way. Some random guy is saying Blumph is finished. Oh, wow. Never seen that before. Lion of Fire Ministry says, when do candidates drop out in what order? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. DeSantis would be wise to drop out, but because he got in second place, he's probably going to be like, well, I'm going to take it on to New Hampshire, and then he'll get embarrassed and probably drop out there. Or if he stays in until Super Tuesday, he'll just embarrass himself further. Crazy. But yeah, all the money spent against Trump burned. Could have been used to defeat Biden, which obviously I think is going to happen still, but seriously. But then again, a little bit of primary fun did light a fire under Trump a little bit. It made him, oppose the Republican establishment a little bit more again. And I think that all in all, because the primary's over early, like, you didn't want to spend that much money, but having the primary probably isn't going to hurt him too much. If anything, you could make a case where it would have helped him a bit. But that's pretty much it. So Joshua Mills says Trump is Grover Cleveland 2.0 back with a vengeance. Can't wait to see the liberal screams and tears on election night and inauguration day. Lol, at the same time, I know we can't get complacent. That's the right attitude to have. I could come out and say, Trump's going to win every state. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's fun to hear. It's good to hear. But is he going to? No. I mean, let's be real. Liberals do exist. Dumb people do exist in high numbers. I don't think we need to have this electoral narcissism where we just automatically assume that Donald Trump is going to win. We just have to kick our feet up and watch it happen. Like I said, it's a team. You got to get involved. You're not going to be, writing the speeches, but you could be knocking on doors. If one person gets 10 people to vote, if they work hard enough to get 10 people to vote who would never vote, and we even get 10,000 people, which would be 1 in every 15 audience members that I have currently, soon to be 1 in 16, out and helping, we would change the world. We would change every state. We could do this. And I think, there's certain things that I have been looking into where I think I need to promote to get people involved or to help make it easier for people to get involved. And I will do that. We are going to build a network here. We're going to get Donald Trump elected. We will. We have enough people. We can do it. We have, face value, we have 158, almost 159,000, which, by the way, like and subscribe. We're almost there. I'm not ending the stream till we get to 159K. But when it comes down to it, we have enough. We have enough people to really make a dent. We have enough people to make a difference. If you get 10 people, every person got 10 people out to vote who ordinarily would not have voted. You do the math. That's 1.5 million people. This last election was decided by 40,000 votes. The previous election was decided by 70,000 votes. I mean, Trump won, but still, it's razor thin. You don't have margin for error. We need to win. We need to win to save this country. That's what we need to do. So what we need to do is get involved. That's it. Get involved. It sucks. I know. Oh, knocking doors is boring. Making phone calls is boring. Yeah, I know. But that's how you win elections. Don't be complaining about gas prices if you weren't willing to put the hard work in. Don't be complaining about the border if you weren't able to put the hard work in yourself. I'm serious. And I know not everybody is able to, put in 100% of their energy in something. People have real jobs, but a lot of people are retired boomers. And there's a gold mine there because most Trump voters are above the age of like 55, right? So we need people involved. Andrew Mortensen says, now I've got a great feeling Trump versus Biden. Let's finish counting these results so we can see the bird brainers and DeSantoids cry. Hashtag where's Chris Krispy Kreme? Yeah, well, we have ways to go. Base Kados is who would Hank Hill vote for in a primary. Well, like I said, I don't think he'd be like the biggest Trump guy. I do think he could, realistically, if he's a real person, he's going to vote for Trump, obviously, in a general. But in this election, I think he probably would go for Trump because he just sees the writing on the wall because he's like the pinnacle of common sense. So, Rena Mocker says, good night to Christie, you filthy animal. Johnny Heartdog says, if Trump doesn't break 53 or 54% at the end of the night, that will be considered a defeat. And will you be... No, it's not. It's not considered a defeat. He's not going to get there. It's probably going to be around what the margins are right now. He's going to get above 50%. He's going to win by 30. And that's enough. That is enough because it makes a statement. I said you need a statement victory, win by 30, get 50%. Seems like he's doing both. And yeah, the Vivek percentage, it cut into Trump's win too. All those people are going to be voting for Trump. It's probably why Trump's margins go up if Vivek drops out. But yeah. Jesse Train says, got to vote for the first time, voted Trump. There we go. Adam R. says, Trump 2024, your channel's the best, especially on election nights. Thank you. Shout out to my buddy Jeremiah in Tennessee. Well, thank you for the 20, and shout out to Jeremiah from Tennessee. Goldman Stacks says Trump plus Vivek is almost 60%, 58.7% right now. Benson X says Vivek is speaking at 10:30 Central. I don't know if I'll be live then, but I'll be keeping up with the updates on Twitter. You can follow me there at redeaglepatriot, or X, I guess now. But that's where we see a lot of the coping. It's where we get to witness it all in real time. Johnny Heartdog says, I guess I was just hoping for... Well, I was hoping for 60. I was hoping for more than that. But, I mean, realistically speaking, you have to understand, these people put their time and energy. They moved to Iowa, basically. They spent all their time campaigning. Trump just did a few, drive-by campaign events here and there. He got involved. You have a big snowstorm. He wins by 30 still. Doesn't matter. Mean Gene in Florida says, Fox reporting Trump may win all 99 counties. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. If he did the full Grassley without even going to every county, a lot of the other people try to do it. They call it the full Grassley. They go to every single county. But yeah, I mean, it's not over yet in some of these counties. Like Johnson County, he's up by not even 100 votes, 8% remaining. But yeah, even in Des Moines, he got a plurality. He got a plurality in Dallas County, which is those suburbanites that are moving left, kind of off a cliff. And then he won 50% of the vote in a majority of counties. He won 60% of the vote in a good portion of the counties. And he was winning counties that, he didn't even win. He got decked in 4th place behind Ben Carson in 2016. He won those counties by 30 points this time around. He put on a masterclass performance, all things considered. The polls were right. He didn't overperform the polling a lot. But the polls were right. And there's a lot of uncertainty about how it would shake out because you have the snowstorm. You could say it could help Trump. There's data that shows that it could. There's data that shows maybe it couldn't. But overall, we didn't know how it would shake out. And the fact that he came out on top and he put on just a perfection performance, all things considered, yeah, you're happy about this. You'd take that. You'd take a 30-point win out of Iowa. Now go to New Hampshire. Win there. Just win. That's what he has to do. Ideally win by 10, but just win. Because, Democrats and independents are going to be voting in that. But after they see the Iowa win, will they be as motivated to? Probably, maybe not, especially because Haley didn't come in second. So the fact that DeSantis came in second is probably a net positive for Trump in New Hampshire. And DeSantis is not going to come in second there, but that's the way it is. Sam Madsen said Trump's best county this time was Jackson County in the Iowa driftless area. He got 72%. Yeah, there you go. Bailey Spangler says Eagles getting embarrassed right now. Yeah, I mean, I love seeing Matt Patricia lose. He's a clown. But yeah, down by 16. I mean, there's still time. You never know, but like, let's be real here. I mean, the Eagles are so much better than the Eagles, as John Fetterman said, and that's true because the old Eagles of the first half of the season are so much better than the Eagles of the second half of the season. So yeah, they're done. It's over. Eagles, they didn't even take the biggest L in Florida today. It was Ron DeSantis. But I mean, still, yeah, it's crazy. All right, Lions hosting the Buccaneers next Sunday. That's going to be fun. Or yeah, they'll be hosting them. So let's see. $50 from Kevin Inyart. Thank you for the 50. That matches tonight's high, saying you are doing an awesome job, insightful and intelligent. Always great to watch your election night streams. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. I mean, we have a lot of people. We have a good community here, and we're going to leverage it for a lot of good this year, and that was always the goal. So we got to keep it. We got to keep it moving for sure. And make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm not leaving until we hit 159K, and we're almost there. We're like 20. We're 29 away. We got 29 in the tank. I think we do. So more votes were tabulated. And also we did hit 4,000 likes. But do like the stream if you haven't yet. Helps the algorithm. Helps out with everything. We want to make sure that we can have the biggest reach ahead of 2024 so we can be able to go out there and do great things and help Donald Trump. We have to help Trump. It's about the movement. It's about what it's about. And he's doing a very good job so far in Iowa. But he needs all the help he can get. He does. Because, they're going to throw everything they got at this guy. He needs backup in the electoral sphere. And now Trump's back up to 51. So there you go. We're almost knocking on the door of 100,000 votes cast in Iowa. And it's like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane to see what's happening. New York Times added one of the non-reported counties for Trump. Yeah, they did. All the counties are pretty much filled in. The counties that have not been filled in the most typically tend to be the counties that Trump is doing really well in. He's cracking 50 in almost all of them, which is very good news. You're looking at that. And it seems like Johnson County, still 7% there, but Polk and Dallas are all the way in. Story's all the way in. The counties where he's not entirely... Yeah, see, Johnson, they say there's less than 100 votes per candidate. Yeah, Trump's got Johnson. Trump's got Johnson. There's some votes left out of these places. Trump's going to gain. In most of them, he's going to be putting on like 50+% performances. And that's going to lead to a bigger victory for him, if anything, when it's all said and done. They say 49 to 52. He could end up with above 51%. I don't know by how much. But yeah, 90% of the votes reporting he's doing very, very well. Trump is speaking right now. I don't have the link up. I could play it, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see the updates for sure. Have there any been, Rhinomakra says, have there been anything about new redistricting maps? It seems like New York might not get a Hochelander, which is good, if that's true. Trump's on stage. Apparently right now. MS1711 says, how do you feel about Fetterman floating right? Well, I mean, I guess his brain just came back to life. And it's not like he's saying anything that's like, oh, it's super like based or whatever. But like he's somebody who is going to be probably one of the better Democrats in the Senate, ironically enough, because he like understands Pennsylvania well. He's talking about how Biden needs to do more for like the border or whatever. And it's like, yeah, he got his brain back and he's being probably as more I guess, as least left-leaning as possible. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It probably lowers our chances of taking him down in 2028, but who knows? He could be, for all we know, best case scenario, the next Arlen Specter, but the other way around, it's the same Senate seat. You never know. And he's despised among like the Bernie wing now too. So I don't know if that's going to hold, but like that was his original support base. So it's funny. Security TV said, so tired of hearing about second place. Well, I mean, it's been about first place mainly, but second place, they're going to be duking it out for that. And all it's doing is just wasting time, wasting money, wasting resources. Oh, man. But yeah, it is what it is. Trump's going to speak. I think Vivek is going to speak next hour. I don't know if DeSantis is going to speak. Somebody said, why don't you post on X? I do. If you're talking about me posting videos, I just use YouTube for that. I mean, people can find it pretty easily. So. I got a comment on my recent tweet where I said, you're telling me the polls weren't off by 30 points. How can this be? And this guy says, the vote is not all the way in yet. We could still see a 10-point swing to DeSantis. The delusion is off the charts, folks. Like not most of those votes are going to go for Trump. DeSantis isn't even going to climb in the percentage. If anything, he's going to decrease. Chris Collins for 20 says, I think VP will either be Tulsi or Nikki. Not that I like it, but it will be a deal made to unite the party. I don't think it's going to be Nikki Haley. Definitely not. The DeSantis campaign is desperately trying to astroturf that as the truth. And it's like, no. Like, Trump does not like Nikki Haley that much. He views her as somebody who betrays him. He still attacks her relentlessly, more so than he even attacks DeSantis. He put out a post today. He said DeSantis is MAGA light, which generous, whatever. But then he said Haley is far more destructive. He said she's a total neocon. She's a total globalist. It's all true. Like, Trump is, that's like, I think the average Republican primary voter agrees with that statement 100%. That's why Nikki has to rely on getting other people in other parties and independents that lean left to vote for her to try and save her. And it's not working. She fell behind DeSantis. It's over. It's done. So, yep. Have at it. Donald Trump victory. Once again. There we go. Hutch has not dropped out yet. Ada is still in the race, and he has 180 votes in Iowa. Chris Christie got 32. That's funny. I'm actually surprised Binkley got close to 1%. He probably did better than he expected to be honest, unless he's like completely delusional, which I guess he kind of is if he thinks he has a shot, but maybe he doesn't think he has a shot. I don't know. But yeah. I think Vivek is going to get double digits in New Hampshire if he does not drop out, which I think does hurt Trump. I will say that. And Trump needs to win New Hampshire. You can't allow them to get an optics victory. You can't allow them to do that. So who do I think? Well, we already did the VP thing. Like I said, it could be Carson, it could be Noam, it could be Stefanik, it could be Zeldin, it could be a wide variety of people. It's not going to be Nikki Haley. There's no backroom deal. If there was, Nikki Haley wouldn't be seriously contesting New Hampshire. Like seriously. Haley is in this to win this. And she probably has a better shot than DeSantis, but like you can't divide by zero. Like neither are going to win. This is Trump's nomination. It's over. This race is over. This primary is done. So yeah. I mean, she never had a chance. Yeah, whatever happened to the 60,000 caucus comment cards that Ron DeSantis had? That was supposed to give him the victory. What happened to the comment cards or whatever you call them? What happened to all the people that committed to voting for DeSantis? I guess only a third of them showed up. It's over. 93% of the vote is in. All right, we could go. We're gonna go for another 10 minutes. So if you guys have any more super chats, feel free to send them in. But make sure you guys like the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Subscribe. We're knocking on the door. We're 17 away. We're going to probably hit it tonight regardless, but I would like to hit it on stream. We're 17 away. Let's see. The Commander 248 says, can someone explain to me why Hutchinson is still in the race or why Pinkley's even on the ballot? Dropped out in what, September? I thought he was still running. Seriously? I thought he was still running. I could be wrong. But I mean, Christie, that's more of an example, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at it and it's like this guy, right? He's running. He does the first debate. He sucks. Nobody likes him. I think he wore like he wore like an Israeli and a Ukrainian flag pin, like both, but no American flag pin. And then he doesn't move the needle. He virtue signals about how bad Trump is, and he still is at 1%, doesn't make any of the other debates, and he's still in the race, and he's not dropping out. What's going on? Seriously, what's going on? Like, seriously. Still got one. I mean, if he actually did, he did drop out. Well, if he dropped out and he got 1% of the vote, he should have stayed in. He probably would have done better. I also like how Chris Christie, it says he got less than 0.1%. They went out of their way to give Christie the what's it called? The little sideways caret that implies that he got the less than sign. The only time he'll be less than anything, by the way, because he's so big. You think he'd be able to like use that to his advantage? Everybody looks up at the sky in the clear night. What's that over there? Oh, wait, it's Chris Christie. Yeah, no. Didn't work for him very well, did it? Nope. It did not. So there you go. Apparently some people say he hasn't dropped out. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter. He's basically not in the race at all. It was a good night. DeSantis lost. Haley lost. The Eagles lost. Sorry to any Eagles fans out there, but, you know, I enjoy the demise of Matt Patricia at all times. So, but seriously, America is very happy. They will sleep well tonight. They will sleep well in Iowa. They will sleep well in New Hampshire, South Carolina. As Howard Dean said, all the way to the White House. So, yep. That's so true. Anyways, guys, like the stream once again. I don't know if we can get to 4,500, but do like the stream. Do subscribe if you haven't yet. We're 3 away. We're 3 subscribers away. Let's get that 159K, our new record, because, you know, we saw a drop. We hit 158 before the midterms. We saw a drop off because Republicans don't know what the hell they're doing, because I said the truth about Ron DeSantis and was vindicated tonight. So if anybody deserves to hit the new record tonight, I think it'd be this channel, not just for me, but for all of you that have been loyal supporters for all this time. I thank you. I appreciate it. It's epic. So CPTR 11 or 111 says, immensely grateful for the live streams and fun conservative commentary. We hit 159. We hit it. We hit it. We shattered our record on to 160. So the show goes on. We're not giving up. Donald Trump is going to be the nominee. It's awesome. So Bobby Walter says, Mohop, I guess that's somebody else in chat. Michelle Obama has a purse. You pronounce it Pinito, though. I guess that's one of the big Mike jokes or something. I don't know. But yeah, everyone's like, Michelle Obama's going to run for president. No, like that's not going to happen. People have been saying that for years. It probably would have happened in 2020 because the Democrat field was so weak. Biden was their strongest candidate. He was. That's why they nominated him. Chris Collins for 20 says the polls being accurate in Iowa bodes well for the national polling being accurate. True. But no, all the national polls are fake and they're propping up Trump so they make him the nominee. Like, no, it's not it. People just don't like DeSantis. Tonight proves it. Okay? They got to know him. They didn't like him. So take it or leave it. Cry about it. Do what you need to do. But if you want to beat Biden, we'll welcome you. Not in the driver's seat, but we'll welcome you to support Donald Trump. Do the right thing. pat you on the back. But it's like, at this point, seriously, and it should be easy for a lot of the people in real life because a lot of them did back Donald Trump multiple times and still do like him to a large extent. So maybe not the influencers, but they're just deranged people, and they'll lose following too. If they'll lose followers over time if they hold out, because the whole like Twitter DeSantis sphere, like the casual followers of that probably are going to come back to Trump to a certain degree. I even have people who were like DeSimps like months ago that like all my tweets because they see the writings on the wall. And they probably would vote for DeSantis in a primary, but they're not like TDS ridden the way that some of these influencers are. The Commander 248 says, reminder that the Dems had 40 candidates in 2020 and Biden was the best of the worst. That's just sad. Yeah. And honestly, I'd be a hypocrite for bringing that up to dunk on them to a certain extent, because without Trump, like, I don't see us with a bench now. Now, maybe in the future, but like, you look at the debate stage, you have Vivek like as the stand-in, whatever, but beyond that point, it's like, yeah, this is a mess. Shout out to Michael Kramer for becoming a full member. Yeah, the Eagles are going to lose. They're down by, 19 or 22? Yeah, it's over. It's over. But they have a better chance at coming back than anybody does at winning this nomination besides Donald Trump. So, take that with a grain of salt. But all right, 5 minutes. I'll go for 5 more minutes. We'll have 5 minutes of live stream. I'll read chat. We got 2,600 people. Still, before you go, I'm sure some people are leaving because the primary is basically over. But like the stream, subscribe on your way out. If you're already subbed, hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos, because we got a lot of those. We got a lot of those on the way. We got to drop one tomorrow, and we got a lot of coping to comb through and deal with. But it's just too funny. It is just too funny. Donald Trump, he's going to win every county. I mean, like, look at this. I mean, Johnson's the only one that I think he realistically could drop. But even then, I don't see it happening. All the other ones are like 95% in. There's no path. There's no path forward for anybody to even win a county. I mean, this is embarrassing for the Republican establishment. All the energy and money and time. Nope. Don't care. Still voting Trump. The meme, like with the Pepe with the sign. Yeah, that's real life, buddy. That's real life. Donald Trump on top yet again. Learn how to pronounce. I'm learning how to pronounce Vivek. Okay, I just hear a lot of people say it Vivek. I mean, that's just the way it is. You might complain about that, but yeah, it probably is. It is probably like Vivek. It would make sense. It's like the ethnic terminology. It's like a Hindu name or something. Hindi name. I don't know, or some form of an Indian name. But yeah, 159K secured. Trump victory secured. It's a good week, and it's going to get even better because next Tuesday we have New Hampshire, and I hope everybody is back for that because that's going to be another big stream. And that one probably is going to be a little bit more competitive, so we'll see. Lions barely... Well, the thing is, Lions didn't barely survive the Rams, whoever said that in chat. I mean, they won... I mean, yeah, they won barely, but it's like this is a playoff game where you don't have a good defense, and they match up well against you. And you still hold them to, 6 points in the second half? Like, we have players that were on our offense that were banged up, and we still won our first playoff game since 1991. Just hope there's no hangover for this weekend, but we'll see. It's Vivek. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know. Like, that probably is the correct pronunciation, given how most languages have that sounding, but it just doesn't sound all that right. Every county, every single one, yes sir. Vivek might drop after New Hampshire, yeah, probably, but I'm just worried that his presence is going to take away from Trump. So yeah, this is the last call for Super Chats, but I think we pretty much got everyone saying what they need to say. Jack the Reaper says, Jeb Bush declared winner in Iowa. So true. Jonathan RWY says even Nikki's 6-inch heels could not get her in second. Yeah, I mean, because Ron DeSantis wears taller heels than Nikki Haley does, despite the fact that she's like actually a woman. So the Commander 248 says the Lions won their first playoff win since 1991. That was 2 years before I was born. I'm amazed that my team is doing. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've never seen them win a playoff game. I've only seen them play 3 playoff games in my life, and they lost every single one. So you got a new team with new leadership, and it's amazing what new leadership can do, and that goes for not just sports or business, but politics as well. You need competent leadership that know what they're doing, that want to win. He needs some milk, says, look at everything they've thrown at Trump in the last 2 to 3 years, and he's still this strong. They have to be terrified at this point. Yeah, they have to be. They have to be. Because I think it's true. Like, they want to indict him also just to rattle his cage, and he's still measured. They can't break him. It irritates them. It eats them alive. Especially when he's going out there and winning. It's incredible. I'm from Vivek's ethnic group, and I don't mind how you... Yeah, I don't think most people mind, because I've heard it Vivek more so than Vivek, even if he says it's Vivek. It's just like, is it Kamala? Is it Kamala? Is it Kamala? Like, it's the same thing. We get it, all right? We get it. Like, it might be irritating to some people, but, like, most people I don't think care. Joshua Kaplan says, how do the Eagles suck so bad now? 2 words, Matt Patricia. Base Cato says, didn't you want the Chiefs to lose? Yes, I think that they could lose to Buffalo. That's why I'm not upset at the Bills winning, even though I like MAGA Mason. So, Vivek dropping out. Is that true or is that not true? Is Vivek dropping out? Vivek, I should say. Ramaswamy is yes, sir, he is. Yes, sir, he's dropping out, apparently. Zero hedge. Wow. Okay. Book it. Yeah, maybe he is for real. All right, maybe he is for real. Maybe he is. Even if you don't like the guy, if he drops out, you got to give credit where it's due. You got to give credit where it's due. Because New Hampshire, he will be taking votes away from Trump, and he'll probably take 10% of the electorate away from Donald Trump in New Hampshire if he doesn't drop out. So if he drops out, that's absolutely huge for Vivek Ramaswamy. Absolutely huge. Good for him if he does. I hope that he does. Sanderford says you also got Dubuque wrong or Dubuque. I've heard both. Nathaniel Hyde says, Skol Vikes for life. Congrats to your Lions, though. I will laugh when they be the typical Lions, though. Yeah, I mean, probably they will not make the Super Bowl, but I think that this team is pretty comparable to the 2017 Vikings, and you probably know what I mean. Mike M says, I think it's pronounced Kamala. I thought it was Kamala. I don't know. But, like, it's the same thing. Like, people get what you mean. Like, the liberals got on, like, Tucker's case for mispronouncing her name. And he responded back in a pretty epic clapback at the time. But it's like, who cares? Like, I get it. I understand you want to be professional. But if people just conventionally say something one way, it's not like the end of the world if they mispronounce something. Like, I swear, like this, I don't do it intentionally, but a good like 2% of my super chats are people correcting how I pronounce certain county names and things like that, which I don't know. It's accidentally beneficial, I should say, but it's not intentional. Let's see, is Johnson fully okay? No, but he probably wins every county. Worst case is he loses one. He's going to end up with 51%. He's going to end up winning by at least 29%, at most 31%, and he is going to walk out with a massive, massive victory. He did a great job, great performance from Donald Trump tonight. It wasn't like he won by like 40. He didn't outperform the polls by a ridiculous amount. Maybe Selzer with the enthusiasm, maybe that was a little off. They were wrong about Haley getting second, and they acknowledged that they would potentially be. But Trump broke 50, which the poll didn't show, possibly 51, which is an overperformance, and it's a very good thing. A very, very good thing. And I don't know if I really trust the exit polls because they kind of underestimated Trump a little bit, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that Donald Trump's going to be this nominee of this party. He's going to be the nominee. And tonight showed it in spades. I mean, we knew this, but we needed to see it unfold for a lot of people that may have had some doubts. We needed to see it unfold for them to believe. And now they can believe, and now they can rest easy about it. And he's got all the momentum in the world. So here we go. We have 2 more super chats, and then I'm going to end it. So Browns and Beers says, preferred Ron in the primary, but all in on Trump 24, will accept it to defeat to by far the worst president of my lifetime. You know what? That's a mature response. That's a good response. You're welcome. Like, I look, I don't prefer Ron. Some people have said that they support him. As long as they're not like the annoying DeSimps, they want to support Trump, that's fine. But there's a few people that are insufferable, and they failed tonight. And I will revel in their defeat. TZ Hamblin says, love this content. Cheers from Kentucky. Can't wait for the absolute meltdowns when Trump finishes the comeback. We'll be voting for DJT for the 3rd time. I'll be voting for him for the 2nd time because I was not old enough in 2016, but I would have voted for him back then too. In the primary, possibly. I wasn't a supporter until I think April. So Michigan voted in March? So maybe not, but yeah. All right, we're going to end the stream. Trafalgar might have been the most accurate poll. Well, maybe it's a comeback year for them. Sam Matson says breaking Vivek dropped out. We covered it a little bit, but I think that's going to do it for Super Chats. Anyways, guys, like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video or stream. I'll be back next Tuesday for another stream. Maybe I'll do a stream in between those two, and I'll drop a video recapping this epic victory tomorrow. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle